Hi, this is Skip Bayless, and thank you for listening to the Undisputed podcast. I just posted a personal story on my Facebook page. If you want to know what I'm really all about, what makes me tick, what made me me, you should read what I wrote about my upbringing. You should read about how I succeeded in spite of a mean-spirited drunk of a father and a mother who was too interested in herself to ever be much interested in me. You should read about my athletic achievements and my chokes. You'll find my story on my Facebook page. And now, let's get the show started.
Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon, let's get to it.
Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe. Morning.
Hi, Jenny. How
Hi.
are you?
Good.
Hi, Shannon. How are you?
Good morning, Skip.
Yeah, we're getting closer and closer to
You're getting
Saturday.
real close.
My
How you
next,
feeling?
I'm tasting the dew already.
Well, give me a bet.
Tasting the dew.
So, are we gonna
The
get
nectar of the gods.
Are we gonna
the
get a-
breakfast of
I
champions.
just want to know
Diet
one thing.
Mountain
Are we
Dew.
gonna get a
Swimming
bet?
in dew. Yes.
Alabama and Clemson?
No.
Come on.
That's a gimme.
So you go cherry pick.
we might cherry pick some points if you give me Clemson.
No.
points. Yep.
Skip, you know what today is? My mom's birthday.
Oh, good.
So I want to tell my
All
mom
right.
happy
birthday, Mom.
And no, I'm not sending money,
Yep.
so you can go to the casino.
Oh,
Happy birthday,
Skip told
Mom.
me not
she
to,
will
Mama.
probably lose that at the casino. Am I right?
Probably.
Yep.
How you doing, bro?
Okay, here we go.
You good?
Okay, we have a lot to get to on today's show. Is Dak Prescott good enough to take down Russell Wilson?
Yeah.
And then how does Skip
Whatever.
feel about number 2 heading back to
Kawhi, Skip.
He'll always be number
Antonio?
2 to me.
He's
He's
making
gonna be
that
number
return
2 tonight in San
But we're
Antonio.
going to start with LeBron because he recently said that he felt like he was the GOAT after his Cavs came back from a 3-1 deficit to beat the Warriors back in 2016. But yesterday, LeBron's show More Than an Athlete released a clip of what he told his teammates in the locker room after Game 6, which tied up the series. LeBron said about Golden State, quote, "They effed up mentally and physically. I'm telling you, they effed up." Shannon, what do you make of this?
Yeah. Ooh, Goat man. Yeah.
Oh, God.
You know what he says, Skip.
Yeah.
Gave you a behind the scenes. Goes to the mentality in the criminal justice system, Skip, when they talk about, they say the men's ray.
Yep.
That means the psyche, the mind. What is
Yep.
his mindset? Skip, Alexander the Great once said, he says, "I'm not afraid of an army of lions led by a sheep, but I'm afraid of 1,000 sheep led by a lion." Oh, boy, the Cavaliers. They had
Alexander the Great was a prohibitive favorite every time he went out.
No.
I got to tell you.
No, but he's saying what he's saying. But were the Cavs the favorite? Were they the 73-9
They should have
team?
been.
Well, no, don't do that, Skip. I'm not. Why? First of all, why are you talking?
I don't know. I just can't help
And
myself.
you can't
Yeah,
help
do it.
yourself.
Yeah.
73-9.
Yeah.
Two-time MVP. Unanimous. The only man in NBA history to win an MVP and get all the first place votes.
Yep.
Not Wilt, not Jordan, Bird, Magic, Braun. That's what they had. And he's saying, guys, we broke them. Skip, you know, in football, there's no better feeling, Jenny, than to move a man against his will. When he says, "I'm not going anywhere."
Yep.
And I say, "The hell you're not." And we root him up out of there, Skip, and TD started running that thing. Did you know in 98, Skip, we played the Cowboys? TD had 2 carries for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't even know why I brought that up. That hurt your feelings. I'm sorry. But LeBron was
You know what? You got me confused with somebody who cares.
You care about
I don't
the Cowboys.
Care about that at all.
You like the
I don't
Cowboys?
care what happened in 1998.
98.
I care what happened Saturday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yep.
What happened is that LeBron saw Golden State have a commanding position. They're up 3-1. And he sees them lose and it's 3-2. And he goes bonkers, 41, 16, and 7.
Yep.
And then he follows that up in Game 6 with a 41, 11, and 8. And at that moment, he realized, we got him. Finally, he saw what he needed to see. a team. Steph Curry got tossed at the game. He grabbed his mouthpiece and said, I've seen enough. Say, I want out. And LeBron says, guys, we got him. We fight. They messed up. You know they messed up. Menace to society, Skip, you know.
Yep.
The guy, so what time did you go to that? 12 o'clock? No, you said 11:45. You know you messed up. You know you messed up, Steph. You know you messed up, Warriors. And it also explains to the fact not only was they messed up mentally and physically that game, Skip, explains to you why Draymond Green after Game 7 in his tower went to the parking lot and called KD. Because he knew it would never, ever be the same unless he got reinforcements.
That is correct.
And he called the greatest reinforcement that they had currently in the NBA.
He called the best player in the NBA. You got it. I'm just trying to echo you.
No,
You're
didn't.
preaching to the choir over here.
What you did, you interrupt me with a wrong answer. And you shouldn't do that,
You
Skip
said they
Bayless.
called the greatest help they could call.
They did.
Yeah.
You know, Skip, in Game 6, LeBron had 27. He either scored or assisted on 27 straight points, 35 out of 36. And at that moment in the end of the locker room, you see there were 16 pieces to the Larry O'Brien trophy. And he says, I want 15. 15's for me. And he slapped it in there, and he knew.
Who was 16 for?
Oh, 16, we're going to do that thing together.
Oh, really?
That's going to be the final piece of the puzzle.
Or maybe they let the closer put 16 in.
Skip?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, you're not
I'm just asking.
Well, when it's your turn to speak, you can ask
I'm
and I'll
just an interested
answer.
observer here. I'm fascinated by what you're saying.
You keep talking about the shot, but what was the play of the year? The block!
It was not.
That was the play of the year.
It was the overrated play.
Don't do this, Skip. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it. All I'm saying, Skip, is that the reason why we like Hard Knocks, because Hard Knocks allows the fans to go, I wonder what it's like to be in training camp for the rookies, for the vets. What's going on in the coaching meetings and guys get released? So what this provides you is an opportunity to see the mindset. What are the guys thinking in the Cavs locker room? How did they get to this point? How were they able to do what they did in Game 7? And I think everybody knew, if we can get to Game 7, be close in the fourth quarter, because all the pressure's on them. We got nothing to lose. We weren't even supposed to be in this position to begin with, and we got it to a Game 7, and they broke them, Skip. If you bring something long enough, I don't care what the material is. Carbon fiber, steel, tungsten steel, diamonds. If you hammer it long enough, ultimately it breaks. And they broke them. And we are the champions, no time for losers.
Don't sing too much.
Skip, that hurt you, didn't it, Skip?
That's the great Freddie Mercury. Wow. Oof. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Really
There's nothing like that song, Skip.
Great.
Is it my turn?
It's your turn.
It is a great song. So, I'm asking your man, LeBron James, today to please just give it up and give it a rest.
Why?
Because this is more pathetic, foolish myth-making on the part of the faux GOAT. The faux GOAT. You know what faux means? F-A-U-X? You know what that means? The faux GOAT, LeBron. Faux GOAT. It rhymes because faux is actually French, right? So it's faux. It means fake, right? The fake GOAT.
There's nothing fake.
The faux GOAT is LeBron James. And I can just hear his social media experts, he must have 10 of those in his inner circle, and they're saying to him, LeBron, the public's actually starting to buy this whole concept that you pushed out there about how you upset Golden State and that makes you the GOAT. People are actually buying it. We need to double down. Let's post this inner circle video.
We weren't selling it, but I'm glad they bought it.
Oh. So you know what the irony of this video behind the scenes in the locker room? It was great. The irony is it actually unmakes LeBron's GOAT case here, because the truth is that he was exactly right at that moment. The Golden State Warriors were just fried mentally and physically after Game 6. They were crumbling mentally and physically after Game 6 because what had they done in the regular season? They had spent way too much mental and physical energy to try to break the Bulls' 72-game winning record, right? 72 and 10. And they did. They pulled it off, but they had to gut it out to pull off 73 and 9. And then what happened in the conference finals? They found themselves down 3-1 to Oklahoma City. And you want to talk about having to reach way down?
Whoa, how did they, hold on. How would they get down to the best player in the NBA down 3-1 and come all the way back, Jenny?
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm glad you asked that because it took all that they had to come back. And the crucial game was Game 6 back in Oklahoma City. That's the one you got to win where you're facing extinction right there.
Yeah.
And it would be the ultimate embarrassment if you set the record with 73 wins and then lost to Oklahoma City in 6 games. And what happened in the Game 6 at Oklahoma City? Klay Thompson, as he is wont to do, just went off, and he saved their bacon. He made 11 of 18 threes and scored 41 points.
Where's the best player in the NBA?
Well, guess what? KD was getting more and more upset by the dribble with his primary decision maker, Russell Westbrook, and this is starting to facilitate his exit from Oklahoma City. And they combined to go 1 for 13 from 3. Those two did. Kevin made 1, Russ made none. And you could see them looking at each other like, what are you doing? What are you doing? That was a troubled basketball team, but it took a lot out of Golden State because then Golden State had to go home and grind out a Game 7 win, and it was 96-88. So it was a defensive struggle between the Warriors and the Thunder at that point. And Steph was good. He made 7 of 12 threes in that game. And Russell Westbrook went 7 of 21, as he is wont to do. And that was the game where Kevin Durant said, you know what? I just can't take this anymore.
But I'm not going to let you do this to Russ, because what about all those bricks that Kevin Durant shot in Game 6? While he's looking around at Russ and talking about what's going on, what about all those bricks he shot?
Troubled basketball team, but they showed their firepower because they had them right where they wanted them.
But they weren't trouble then. They only got trouble once they lost.
All I care about right now is Golden State, because Golden State, by the time it got to the finals, was on fumes. You know it, and I know it. And the crucial game became Game 4 at Cleveland, which Golden State did win, and they're only up 2 going to the fourth quarter. And LeBron wasn't great in that fourth quarter. He should have won that game, but they lost the fourth quarter 29-20. But what happened with about 2.5 minutes left in that fourth quarter?
What happened?
What happened was Draymond happened, and he had so little respect at that point for one LeBron James, the GOAT, or faux GOAT, as I call
Stop it.
that he actually, to his face, audibly, that could be heard 3 rows up into the stands, called him the B word. You're such a B.
He was walking away when he said it.
But he called him that, and then they trot up the court, and they get tangled up, as you know, as they go past half court, and they fall down. And Draymond has so little respect, he tries to kick LeBron in the midsection.
Yeah.
And Kiki Vandeweghe, the director of punishment for the NBA, is hearing and witnessing. And he did something that I could not believe he did.
What'd he do?
He suspended, in the middle of the NBA Finals, a key player for the team that was ahead in the finals.
Was it warranted?
Whew.
Was it warranted?
You could make a case, but I've never seen that. And I was shocked and said that the next day on the old show, because you just don't take key players out of the finals.
But what had
you can fine them all you want,
okay.
But you can't suspend them.
But what had Draymond done earlier to Steven Adams?
He had done that. He had a
so
history. I got it. I'm with you, but I was still shocked. It wasn't just a fine. It wasn't some wrist slap.
Well, he didn't get the message.
Okay.
Because they fined him when he did it to Steven Adams, and he did it again.
That, but all of a sudden, they're going back to Oracle for Game 5, and there's no Draymond.
Okay.
And the truth was, from Game 5 on, 5, 6, 7, Draymond was kind of a basket case because he was completely shook up by all this.
No, he wasn't.
And then what happened as we watched Golden State teeter and fall? They just ran out of mental and physical gas in 5, 6, and 7, especially that little willowy point guard of theirs who was a 2-time MVP. Steph Curry was awful in those last 3 games, just awful. Do you realize in those 3 games he had only 7 assists in 3 games to 12 turnovers? Yeah. Is that good? Yeah, no, that's not good. You know what he shot from the field? 22 of 60 in those last 3 games. So the little guard who can just score at will shot 37% from the field. I'm not talking about 3, just from the field. How many shots? Horrible.
How many times LeBron blocked his shot?
I don't know. Who knows? Because in Game 7 at home, this is in your house, Steph Curry.
Yep.
You're a 2-time MVP.
Yep.
You shoot 6 for 19 and 4 of 14 from 3. Is that good? With 4 more turnovers, and he had 1 unsightly turnover in the middle of the fourth quarter. Behind the back into the 5th row.
That was the Larry O'Brien trophy that he threw out of bounds like that.
Well, I think he just did. And, of course, Steph had to watch his counterpart, Kyrie Irving, hit the shot of shots to close the deal because neither team could buy a shot down the stretch. It was ugly basketball.
But Skip, you keep saying
Kyrie said, "Game over, I got this, LeBron."
You keep saying that Draymond was fragile. Mm-hmm. Draymond in game 7 was 32, 15, and 9. I'm not so sure had they won that game, he wouldn't have been the Finals MVP.
Yep.
So he was not fragile. But you keep telling, I just want to know, you keep telling me they were mentally broke, but they came back from 3-1 against a team that had the best player in the NBA on it. How is that possible?
That was a troubled Oklahoma City basketball team. You know it because you know what was about to happen.
let me ask you a question.
He was about to exit stage left.
Okay, I just need to know this just for me.
I think you already know the answer.
And my 800,000 people. You know, Skip, you know I got 850,000 IG followers?
Do you really?
Yeah! I'm about to get a meal.
Going up.
Wow.
What I want to know and what my followers like to know.
What about Twitter?
I
think you have him beat on Twitter.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to catch you. Your day coming, though.
Well,
But anyway, stop trying to interrupt me.
I don't think I'm going to live that long.
Yeah. Oh, you got jokes.
Yeah.
But I just need to know, me and my followers want to know, were they troubled before?
Your followers want to know.
Yeah. Were they troubled before they got the 3-1 lead or after they blew the 3-1 lead?
They were troubled for about 4 years. They were troubled. Yeah.
So they were so troubled. Kevin Durant wanted to get out of there so
let's
bad.
get back to the question at hand, thanks to Ms. Taft here, that the point is, the truth is, all this that we just talked about, it wasn't that big of an upset. In fact, I can make a strong case it wasn't an upset at all.
How you make a case?
Because you know what? In the big picture, as I look back at it, will I take LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson over Steph and Clay and what was left of Draymond at that? Yes, they're a better team. Cleveland was a better team at that point.
So why would
because what has Steph shown you repeatedly over time? He comes up smaller in the playoffs and on the Christmas Day stage. He comes up smaller when the stakes are high.
Not the last two finals.
I'm sorry. He just does. And Clay, can he not run hot and cold?
Yes.
You can't really trust him from night to night to night. And again, Draymond had turned into a basket case. So let's look at what Kyrie did over those last 3 games. Kyrie averaged 30 a game. And guess what he made over the last 3 games? He made 9 of 17 three-point shots. That's 53% from 3, including this shot of shots. And guess what Kyrie did in those last 3 games? He made 13 of 13 free throws. That's 100% from the free throw line in big games and big moments. That's pretty great. You want to talk about riding shotgun? You want to talk about a co-star? That's a co-star. And by the way, in Game 6, as they turned it completely around, Tristan Thompson had 15 points and 16 rebounds. And in Game 7, Kevin Love had 14 rebounds. So you want to talk about help for the King? The King had the better team, and he was right.
So so let me ask you a question. If he had the better team, if this team was so good, why didn't they win 60 games?
I don't know. You asked LeBron. What was he doing?
He was
always saying I didn't have enough help.
If they were so much of the favorite, why did Vegas have them the overwhelming underdog?
I don't think they were overwhelming or
overwhelming.
No, they were not.
Skip, don't try to see what you try to do. You're trying to minimize.
The truth is, in hindsight, if you look hard at this, it was not an upset. Really, the outcome was pretty predictable at that point, that they were going to hit the wall, which they did, mentally and physically. And LeBron, who I always say has the highest basketball IQ I have ever witnessed, including Magic Johnson's, he was telling you the truth. He was laying it right on the line for his team after Game 6. They are...
So let me ask you a question. I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. So at the point when Golden State had Cleveland down 3-1, you would have been willing to bet your bottom dollar. You know bottom dollar is that's the last dollar you got in your pocket. You would have been willing to bet your bottom dollar that Cleveland was coming back and win the series in 7.
Well, that's what the Hall of Famer told me.
No,
so boy, the Hall of Famer is, he knows all. He knows everything about everything. He's omniscient.
I'm omniscient.
Yeah.
All-knowing.
Yeah.
I won't say that other word, but you know what it means.
Okay. So you know everything except the truth about LeBron James. And the truth is, can we just even stop it? Do I have to start back into all the argument again? Wait, can I just mention to your blind witnesses who follow you on, what is it, Instagram?
I do.
Instagram.
Okay. To those blind witnesses, I remind you, Michael Jordan was 6-0 in the finals with 6 MVPs, and LeBron is still, I can't help this, I can't erase it, he's still 3-6.
Okay.
And Michael Jordan never completely melted down in a finals the way we saw LeBron melt down in his first finals with the Miami Heat at Dallas. I've just never seen it like it. And let me finish this. Michael Jordan never melted down in another finals against the San Antonio Spurs and got blown off the floor in 5 games by a record finals margin. And nobody ever accused Michael Jeffrey Jordan of being a liability at the late game clutch free throw line like LeBron has consistently shown us to be. So we have 10 scoring titles for Michael and 1 for LeBron.
Okay.
Really?
Okay.
We have 9 defensive first team all NBA.
And only 5 or 6 for LeBron.
And only 6. And we have 1 defensive player of the year for Michael
And
Jordan.
LeBron should have won it the year they gave it to Marc Gasol, but that's neither here nor there. But Skip, I just want to ask you this, and maybe you can help me out. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, in Michael Jordan's first NBA Finals, he's playing the Los Angeles Lakers in 1991. And let's just say, for the sake of argument here, Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen goes out. Do you feel comfortable in saying that Michael Jordan by himself will beat the Los Angeles Lakers?
Yep, I do. I do. He was a terror. He was the ultimate assassin.
Do you remember the year before when Scottie Pippen got that migraine and couldn't play Game 7? What happened to Michael?
What happened to him?
Yes! What happened to him in Game 7 when Scottie Pippen couldn't play?
Well, Michael wasn't there. The one where Michael was gone?
No, 1990. 1990 Detroit Pistons, when Scottie Pippen got that migraine, he couldn't play Game 7, and the Pistons wiped the floor with him.
Yeah.
But you feel comfortable in saying if he misses Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant, he's going to beat the Lakers in the NBA Finals.
I do. Well, the Lakers were aging at that point. Remember?
But why couldn't he beat the bad boy
Kareem
Pistons?
at that point.
Skip,
Yeah.
he still had Horace Grant. Why couldn't he beat the bad boy Pistons? And I want you to do me one more thing.
Yeah.
Tell me the time that Michael Jordan beat a team that had 4 future Hall of Famers on it. I just want to know one team. Name the one team.
Well, all I know is he had 6 finals opponents and beat all 6 of them.
I'm just asking.
And he won 6 MVPs.
Skip, I just want you to.
Shannon, you got to give this up.
Skip,
it's not even close. I just gave you all that. I get that.
No.
I don't have time because we're going to have to go to break here in a second. But if I start listing all the Eastern Conference opponents that he took down, it's unbelievable.
They got 1 Hall of Famer.
The finals were all in the East.
They got 1.
East.
The Indiana had 1 Hall of Famer, Reggie Miller. The Knicks had 1, Patrick Ewing. And that's it. The Miami Heat had 1, Lonzo Mourning. Charlotte, Lonzo Mourning. I'm just trying to tell you, I want to know the
and
NBA
Michael
Finals
was
team.
1 by himself. Scottie Pippen went along for the ride.
Wow! Don't do that. Don't do him like that, Skip Bayless. He's a top 50 player.
I've done him like that for years.
I know he's a top
I'm doing
50
it
player.
again.
So
there's no way he's top 50 without Michael Jordan.
Wow, it doesn't matter, Skip. I mean, a lot of people say there's no way Shannon Sharpe's in the Hall of Fame without John Elway. Okay, I get all that.
That is true.
Yeah,
No, how about Terrell Davis?
Okay, all that. I'm not here to debate that.
How about
Skip.
Ray Lewis?
Okay, I'm not here to debate that.
Okay.
But I'm just asking you. I just want to know the team that Michael Jordan beat in the finals that had 4 Hall of Famers.
But they were
like
all
the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
Like the Golden State Warriors. Can you do me that, Skip? That's all I'm asking.
They're just loaded. All those teams are loaded with muscle. It was physical. It was football. They played
The
football.
Supersonics were loaded?
Yeah, they were.
They had hold on. So Detlef Shrimp.
Yeah.
And Gary Payton.
Gary Payton.
Okay, Gary Payton was it.
Sean Kemp.
Gary Payton's in the Hall of Fame. I give you that. Okay, what about
I
the
think
Blazers?
all those guys are in the Hall of Fame.
No, they're not. What about the Blazers? Clyde Drexler's in the Hall of Fame. Okay, Utah. John Stockton and Malone.
That's 2.
So that's 4 Hall of Famers on 3 different teams. Golden State and San Antonio got 4 Hall of Famers on 1 team. Huh?
Okay. All right. So you got blown off the floor by him. So what's your argument? I don't know what you're talking about.
The argument
it was a record margin. No one's ever lost the finals by more points than LeBron did.
Right. And my argument is that's what happened to Michael Jordan in the Eastern Conference when he played the Celtics, when they had the big 3 Hall of Famers, when they had Bill Walton, the Hall of Famer, when they had Dennis Johnson, the Hall of Famer. That's what I'm talking about, Skip.
How many Hall of Famers did Dallas have when LeBron James just completely
Only
came
2.
unglued?
Only 2. Only 2.
Who's the second one?
Jason Kidd and Dirk Nowitzki.
All right. But Jason was kind of at the end of the line. Now
he's at the end of the line.
Well, he didn't compete.
Now he's at the end of the line.
That was Dirk's finals.
They
had 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
All I'm asking, Skip, I'm not trying to excuse what LeBron did in that finals. It happened. But
you did it.
But
I think you're disqualified on that.
No.
Let's leave it for now. We're going to switch gears. The 2 quarterbacks we're about to see.
He said they effed.
This
Did you already say? He said they effed. He said they effed mentally, they effed physically,
you realize
emotionally.
He just completely undid his own argument.
They effed.
The video, the timing, it's all by design with LeBron. We'll hit it again later, but let's talk about the quarterbacks we're going to see this weekend on Saturday. Did Dak Prescott actually have a better season than Russell Wilson. We'll discuss the
easy.
two next.
No mercy.
So let's talk about that game. A lot of attention will be on the two quarterbacks. Dak Prescott had 28 total touchdowns this season for Dallas, but he was picked off twice and sacked 5 times in their early season loss to the Seahawks. On the other side, Russell Wilson had 35 touchdown passes this season, 2 of those in the win against Dallas. Shannon, who had the better season, Dak or Russ?
Are we on
What are you checking for?
Are we on a new show? Because last night I watched The Masked Singer, so I think we got a new show. They punking me or something.
No.
I know
Same
we got.
show.
Oh, so
Are you wearing a mask?
yeah, I'm trying to figure out because you punking me, Skip, baby.
No, this is real.
No, this ain't no real question.
Then you better have some ammunition over there to
Skip
defend it.
Bayless, it's Russ and it's not even close.
Really?
The Seahawks are not even
Interesting.
supposed to be here.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be a rebuild. Remember? They let Sherman go. They traded Bennett. Cliff Averill had to retire. Cam Chancellor had to retire. Earl Thomas got hurt, I think, 3rd or 4th game of the season. And so when you look at it, there's nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. There isn't anything that Dak Prescott does better than Russell Wilson. Now, you told me, and Jenny, I went home yesterday. I said, you know what, should I believe Skip Bayless? I'm going to start, I was talking to myself, Jenny. I said, you know what, I'm going to start listening to Skip. I said, he told me that I should put stock in Pro Football Focus when they're grade people. He says because they got guys, former NFL, GMs, and all they do is sit around. Shannon, you don't have time to watch games like they do. I said, okay, Skip, I'm gonna put stock in it. Pro Football Focus says by every metric that Russell Wilson is better. He threw 13 more touchdowns, 1 fewer interception. He had a better QBR. I don't even use QBR, but better passer rating, yards per attempt. Seattle's offense, 6th in scoring. Cowboys offense, 22nd. Now, I will give Dak this. He did have a little over 400 more yards.
Okay.
But let me ask you a question, Jenny. Do you feel comfortable saying
Wait,
that?
are you talking to Jenny or me?
I
don't know. I don't know.
He's thinking out his thoughts.
Yeah. I'm
Need help?
I'm looking at you.
Okay, help him out.
No. I'm looking at
you have
who
my
am I looking
blessing.
at? No,
Help him,
no.
help him.
I
Who am I
wanna be
looking at?
convinced as
No, you're
well
looking at
here.
Jenny.
No, I ain't looking at no Jenny. I'm looking at you.
Yep. You better be.
Yeah, you my nemesis. You.
Yeah, I am. your nemesis. Yep.
I feel comfortable in saying that even though Dak threw 99 more passes for 400 more yards, I believe Russell Wilson, if you let Russell Wilson throw those same passes, I believe he can average 4 yards or attempt. I believe he could. So, Skip, when you look at it, and let me ask you a question. Who do you think have the better offensive talent? Zeke, Amari Cooper, and an offensive line. So given all that, and given what Russ was able to do, and that, you can't even say record because both of them 10-6. It just so happens Seattle plays in a division. It just so happens that the NFC East is the weakest conference, is the weakest division in the NFC. Given that 10-6 won it. Every other division had a 13-3, 13-3. I think Chicago finished 11-5 or 12-4. So with that being said, Russell Wilson, by every metric that you told me to Pro Football Focus, Russell Wilson's ahead. Another thing about Pro Football Focus, Skip, do you know this? I don't know if you know this or not, but they had Zeke graded the 30th running back in all of football.
So thank you for that. I didn't know
30th.
that. Yeah, okay.
I don't even know why, Jen. I don't even know why I brought that up. That's none of my business. Skip, I'm sorry.
So Dak was actually handicapped by Zeke, is what you're talking about?
I'm just saying.
Well, thank you for that nugget. I appreciate that. That starts to make my case even stronger. Appreciate that very much.
Let's hear it.
This is why Dak Prescott had a little better. I'm not going to go he had a way better year because he didn't have a way better. He just had a little better.
He didn't have a
year.
better.
Let me explain this to you.
Okay,
Let's
explain it.
start with what you always start with me on. You always discount Dak Prescott. You say he's a product of Ezekiel Elliott, right? And yet, Russell Wilson benefited from the #1 rushing attack in all of pro football. Am I right about that? Seattle led the whole National Football League in rushing. And as a team, back to your point about Zeke, the Dallas Cowboys finished 10th in rushing as a team. So #1 to #10. So wouldn't that be a big advantage for Russell Wilson over Dak? No. You start with that premise right there.
Well,
so you're going to benefit greatly because everything you do when you throw the football has opened wide open because you can run it the way nobody can run it in the whole NFL. Am I right?
Because
I'm just using what you taught me.
Because
right?
Russell Wilson can run it 25 times better than what Dak Prescott can.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting stat, Jenny. So help me out with this. I'll just throw this out. I was going to save it for my denouement, conclusion, but I'll just throw this out.
Throw it out.
Dak Prescott rushed for 6 touchdowns. That means he scored 6 with his legs. Guess how many Russell scored with his legs? How about a big goose egg? 0 for Russell Wilson. So Dak had 6 touchdowns running the football. So let's add those on to his total of touchdown passes, right?
Do that.
Okay, so now, obviously, for the first 8 games this year, Dak was really up against it. And you agreed with this because not only did he not have a number 1 receiver to target, I'm not even sure he had a number 2. And the great Shannon Sharpe would always reinforce that same point. You always said, I don't know if they even have a number 2 out there.
Give you that.
And furthermore, they clearly don't have any obvious tight end target.
Yes,
so there's no.
They got Shannon Jarwin.
Okay, well that's.
They got Shannon Jarwin.
That just happened in the very last regular season game, right? Didn't they just play the last regular season game? I'm talking about the first 8 games. He had nobody to throw to, right?
Yeah.
And the whole year, guess what? Russell Wilson had 2 number 1s to throw to.
Really?
He had Tyler Lockett and Doug Baldwin. You don't think those are number 1s? I'll take them any day of the week.
Of course you would.
Because those are tough, get open. Tyler Lockett can get open on anybody. He had 10 touchdowns himself.
Nobody look. Everybody has to be somebody has to be the number 1 receiver. But I don't think anybody looks at Doug Baldwin, looks at Tyler Lockett and says they're number 1s in the sense
I
of
don't
Julio,
know.
AB,
No, but
Juju.
they're up there. They're really
good. But you should. So Dak should be disqualified because you said the first 8 games he wasn't very good because he had no one throw to.
He had nobody.
Okay, so that should disqualify him.
Disqualify? No, because now we get to the last 8 games, and now we really qualify him. We, in fact, over-qualify him over Russell Wilson.
How?
Because once Amari joins and you have 1 target, you just have 1 number 1 receiver, all of a sudden, over the last 8 games, Dak Prescott throws for the 4th most yards in the whole National Football League. This is over the last 8 games of the year. And obviously, they go 7-1 over that stretch. And he had the 3rd highest completions of that stretch over those last 8 games. He had the 3rd highest completion percentage. Well, those 3 numbers alone should qualify him as a top 5 performer over the last 8 games of the year.
But unfortunately, the season is 16 games, not just 8.
I'm going to weight these far more heavily. I'm going to value those last 8 games because he finally actually had a target to throw to, and he took them on a run from 3-5 all the way to 10-6.
Do you remember what Seattle started?
That's sensational.
You remember what Seattle started?
Was before then, they were 0-3.
Yeah.
Okay, but that 3-5, that's deep in the season. You're dead in the water. That's after that Tennessee debacle.
How many times? There's only a handful of teams that come back. The Houston Texans did it this year. They were 0-3, come back, won the division. It doesn't happen very often, Skip Bayless.
So what am I supposed to do with these numbers? Dak Prescott averaged 243 yards passing a game.
Yes.
Russell Wilson averaged only 216 yards passing a game?
Yes.
That's not that good.
Right.
What do you always throw at me about Dak Prescott? That 200-yard line.
Yeah.
He can't even throw for 200 yards, right?
He couldn't.
So help me out with this. 7 times this year, Russell Wilson threw for under 200 yards. Only 5 times Dak threw for under 200 yards. So wouldn't that be? Wait. Wouldn't that advantage Dak?
No.
Yeah, I think it's advantage.
What about
Dak.
the touchdown?
Huh.
What about the touchdown, boss?
It's my turn. I think I'm making my case right now.
Go ahead.
So Dak Prescott actually threw for 455 in one game against the arch rival, the defending
INTs?
Super Bowl champ.
How many INTs?
You know what? It's my turn, I think, and
My
you're
bad.
interrupting
You're
me
right.
again.
I'm
So that's
sorry.
455 yards against the defending Super Bowl champ Philadelphia Eagles. Then he also threw for 387. Is that better than 200? I think it is. So 455, 387.
You make it seem like he threw for 200 yards every game. Skip, stop it.
Russell Wilson threw for 300 plus one time, and it was only 339. So Dak had 2 games much higher than Russell Wilson's best game. That's interesting.
Okay.
So let's just do the wins. So in Russell Wilson's 10 wins, he had 20 touchdowns to 3 interceptions.
Yes.
In Dak's 10 wins, he had 17 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions.
Okay.
20 to 3 to 17 to 2. Well, I'd say that's pretty even,
No,
right?
no.
Then you throw the 6 rushing touchdowns on top of that to 0 for your guy.
Whoa. Hold on. Did he have those 6? So you see what you did there, Skip Bayless?
I didn't do anything.
Okay, well, help me out.
So
Skip.
let's do average distance of touchdown pass. Dak's average touchdown pass covered 27 yards. Russell's covered only 18,
Skip.
27 to 18.
Skip.
So all those 35, they're coming from shorter distances because 1/3 of those 35 came from under 10 yards. He is dinking and dunking touchdown passes. I don't know. I mean, God bless you if you can do it, but...
Skip.
You know, you can do it by land or by sea. Which do you do it? And they chose to go by sea.
You know
right?
what, Skip? This is what you done to me. I mean, when I came on the show, I think September 6th, 2016 was our first time. And Skip told me, he said, well, Shannon, I didn't play the game. And I didn't break film down like you did, but I'm an eye test guy. He said, my eyes, he said, you know, I've covered this game long enough and I'm an eye test guy. If you got decent eyesight, there's not one person, not even a Cowboy fan, that will tell you Dak Prescott had a better...
How do you know that?
Because I know.
You don't know that.
Because even
no Cowboy fan, no respectable Cowboy fan follows you on Twitter.
They should.
I know that.
Because they want the truth.
They want the truth?
Because even the most irrational Cowboy fans, and that's 90% of them,
Okay.
knows that Russell Wilson had a better season. Okay,
Look,
Skip.
Wait, what is the question here? Who's the better quarterback? If we're just doing who's the better overall quarterback, I'll give you Russell Wilson.
No, who had a better
because he
season?
actually won a Super Bowl. I give you that.
Okay, Skip.
Right?
Okay.
Can't deny that.
But we're talking about who had the better season this year. Dak did. Dak was the driving force of a team that turned it around. Once you gave him one receiver, he turned it around. And I tried to tell you yesterday, I didn't think Zeke's year this year was that great. I thought it would be much better than it was. Okay? He led the league because no single back gets to carry it as much as he does.
Was Dallas in rebuild?
I don't know. Felt like it to me.
No. I'm talking about what it felt like. That's the eczema you got. You need to rub some cream on that. You wouldn't feel that anymore. Were the Dallas Cowboys in a rebuild? No. Okay. They played 16 games, Skip Bayless. You good with math. They played 16 NFL. Hold on, let me finish.
What, do you know how young the Dallas defense is?
Okay.
It's just like a bunch of babies. Like they're all just growing up right before your very eyes.
Have you seen?
Is that rebuilding? I'd say that.
Have you seen the Seattle defense?
Yeah, I have a lot.
Young.
Bobby Wagner's really young.
Yeah.
KJ Choi, he's what, first year? Is he a second year player? I forget.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You make it seem. What about Irving? What about Crawford? Are they first year guys?
Was
Byron Jones.
Who did the most damage to the Dallas Cowboys in Week 3? That Earl Thomas guy. How long's he been in the league?
How long has he been out this season? But anyway, Skip, they played 16 NFL games. In 10 of those games, Dak Prescott threw 1 or 0 touchdowns. In 10 of the 16 games. What am I supposed to do with that?
Well, they're scoring different ways.
Oh!
And Zeke, let him score. Or maybe Dak just runs the ball in. He did that a bunch of times. He did it 6 times. To your guys, none.
You told me if a quarterback could throw it, because when I told you, I said, well, Skip, this is why I give Aaron Rodgers the grade or a little better grade than I give Tom Brady, because of his legs. You tell me he don't need no leg. Tom Brady uses his arm, so he doesn't need to be able to run the ball.
Okay. All right. So what's your
Russell
point?
Wilson doesn't need to use his legs.
So we have Tom Brady way up here, and then we have Aaron Rodgers here. And then we have Russell Wilson here, and then we have Dak Prescott.
No.
Okay,
we got Russell Wilson here, and then we got Dak Prescott here.
No, we do not.
Yeah, we do.
Not
stop
this
it,
season,
Skip. Yeah, we do.
I'm
yes,
sorry.
we do. Skip, stop it.
This is haunting you because you cannot swallow the fact that you've been wrong about Dak Prescott.
No,
it just boils down to that.
I'm not wrong.
You basically called him a bust.
No, I did not call him a bust.
Yes, you
and
have.
Russell Wilson should have made the Pro Bowl. You and I both agree. Should Dak Prescott have made the Pro Bowl? Yes or no?
No, he's just more valuable to his team. He had a better year than Russell had.
No, he did.
Yeah,
you know
he
what?
just did.
You know he didn't.
Yeah.
Let this one be settled
2019,
on
I think you,
Saturday.
after all these years, Skip, you hadn't had a drink. And in 2019, you started off with a drink.
No, I didn't.
Because you must be drunk. You talk about
Sorry.
Dak Prescott had a better year than Russ.
You just did. I just outlined it
No,
for
you didn't.
And you just can't take it.
Pro Football Focus didn't say that. And now you told me to put all my stock in Pro Football Focus yesterday. That's why I listen to you, Skip. I
All
listen
of
to you.
it.
Every
All
time
of
you
it.
say something, I say, hey, Skip said this. When people ask, I say, well, Skip said.
Yesterday you called it pro football foolishness.
But I went home. I had to
right.
change. I told you I was talking on my way home. I was talking to myself. I said, Shannon, yes.
At least he
You should
listened.
listen to Skip.
I know.
Yeah, that's what I
Good
did.
sign.
Yep.
Driving home. I'm driving home. Shannon, you should listen to Skip. You know what? You're right. That's what I said to myself.
That
Skip.
inner conflict.
You're going to see the light on Saturday night.
Yeah, that's that train.
That's going to be my motto this year.
That's that Seattle
See
train
the light.
running over you.
See the
Looking
light on
forward
Saturday
to it.
night. I like that.
I'm worried about it for both of you.
You know, sometimes, even if you're on the right track, you can get run over if you're headed the wrong direction. That's Russell.
That was impressive.
You can't be on the right track if you're headed in the wrong
Yes,
direction.
you can.
You're on the wrong track.
Yeah, no.
I think you're on the wrong
No.
track.
So much to look forward to in that playoff game.
No mercy.
One team that is done, their season is over, well, the Steelers. But the drama in Pittsburgh has no end in sight. Yesterday, Mike Tomlin clarified that Antonio Brown stopped communicating with the team leading up to Sunday's game, which is why Antonio was inactive. While Tomlin was speaking, Brown was posting on social media. He put up a cryptic message saying, amongst other things, that he is, quote, blessed with free will. But that wasn't it. ESPN posted a comment by former Steeler Ryan Clark that said, it's time for Brown and the Steelers to part ways. Brown responded by calling Clark an Uncle Tom. Shannon, a lot of drama going on, but is that out of bounds from Antonio?
Absolutely, it's out of bounds. And what we have here, Skip, and I can speak to this. Sometimes in our community, the black community, if we call out someone from our community for doing wrong, that person does not want to be held accountable for the wrong that he's doing. It's easier to point to the person that's calling you he or she out as an Uncle Tom. So by me calling you out for not showing up to practice, me calling you out for not being professional, you label me an Uncle Tom.
Yep.
That's lazy. Where is the accountability on your part for not holding up your end of the obligation? Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers have played Antonio Brown twice. At first you could say, well, he's trying to hold out, he's trying to get it. They gave him his money. They gave him a lot of money, Skip Bayless. And he didn't show up. Coach Tomlin, we're going to talk about this later, he used the term that Antonio Brown let this team down in its darkest hour, a term Winston Churchill once used during World War II.
Let's not compare it to that.
No, I'm just saying.
That was really dark.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's the phrase that he used.
Yeah.
But in the Steelers' case, Skip, this was the most important game of the season. And not to have your best player because why? Because of something that was said, because of something you feel you're not appreciated, because they don't throw you. You get 150 targets, but that's not good enough. You want 200 targets. It's not good enough. What it was, Skip, guess who was the team MVP voted by the players of the team? Oh, Juju.
Oh.
Guess who led the team in receiving and receiving yards? Oh, Juju.
Yep.
I cannot believe that Antonio Brown will get upset at Ryan Clark for pointing out, bruh, you are a professional. And for you not to show up to practice, it's been reported this wasn't the first time. And I've said this, Skip, you don't just get to this point. Antonio Brown just all of a sudden says, you know what, this is where I'm going to plop down. This is where I'm going to drop anchor here. Go back. There was something in 14, there was something in 15, 16, and 17. But Coach Tomlin talked really tough yesterday. Now, I remember in that Facebook Live video, Coach Tomlin says, we're not going to punish ourselves. At that very moment, Antonio Brown says, aha, I'm a good enough player that I can do this and nothing will happen. So if I can do this and nothing will happen, I'm a good enough player, I won't show up for practice. And then he had his agent to call and says, well, Antonio feeling better, he going to be ready to play. I will give Mike Tomlin credit for this. He said, nah, that's not how we do business
He
here.
said it's not on the menu today, right?
Yeah.
I like that.
Finally. But for him to call Ryan an Uncle Tom, obviously, sometimes I don't really think that some don't know what that is, what that term actually means. But I think in this situation, it was real lazy of Antonio Brown because what he's doing, he's trying to place blame on someone that pointed out his transgressions as opposed to accepting responsibility and culpability for what he did. Ryan Clark is wrong. Oh, Ryan, you're Uncle Tom for telling everybody what I did. Really? So not that you did it, you mad at Ryan Clark for pointing out and telling everyone that you did it. Man, Antonio Brown, but I told you, said it then.
You did.
Steelers, you got to move on.
Got to move on.
You got to move on because he's not going to get any better.
He's not. He's only going to get worse. You finished?
I'm finished.
Good. Okay. So you have a far deeper feel for this than I have. But you mentioned, what's the definition of Uncle Tom? So I'm going to give you what I've thought from a distance, and you help me out here. To me, An Uncle Tom is a black man who sells out black people to white men in power so that that black man can get preferential treatment from white men in power.
Correct.
Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, that's sort of the gist of it.
Yes.
That's a basic
That's
definition.
a textbook definition.
Okay. So, Ryan Clark is a longtime friend of mine, and I work closely with him at ESPN, and I'm going to defend him just the way you did, but I'm going to do it on a personal level because I do consider him a friend. He's as far from that definition as any black man I've ever known. Seriously,
Yes.
Ryan Clark is. And I point out to everyone, he was the Steelers player representative back in the summer of 2011? Yeah, 2011 when the collective bargaining was signed.
Correct.
He was the lone player representative out of 32 who voted no to the deal that now all the teams regret.
All the player representatives, correct.
Right, all of them regret it now. What are we doing? What did we do? Ryan Clark stood up at that point and said no to the quote-unquote white men in power.
Correct.
So give him that much, and then let's just leave it be and go on to Antonio, because to me that was just childish or whatever. It's just you're flailing when you throw Uncle Tom back at
Correct.
Ryan, and he doesn't deserve that, but that's fine. If that's all you got, that's
all you got.
Okay, that's all you got. So, by all accounts, these incidents have been taking place with Antonio since training camp. And I remind everybody, remember the week 3 incident when the former Steelers public relations man tweeted, remember, I'm going to read his tweet. AB needs to thank his lucky stars because he was drafted by a team that had Ben, and Ben got AB paid. You know darn well he wouldn't put up those numbers for other teams. Now, if that's fair or unfair, you be the judge. But that set off Antonio, and he immediately fired back, trade me, let's find out. Well, that's been in his heart the whole year.
Correct.
Okay, just send me somewhere else. I'll show you I'm better than Ben. I'm better than Juju and Ben. I'm better than, I'm the show here. And he just isn't. I mean, but once you get that in your head and your heart, you're going to have problems.
Right.
And the whole situation degenerated yesterday to the point that our man James Harrison it looked like it was at James's place in Pittsburgh, right? And his friend Antonio is there with him, and they post an Instagram video, and they're basically mocking Mike Tomlin, or that's how it came across to me, while his press conference, his news conference, is in progress on their television, right?
Correct.
Okay, well, that's really a low blow because it smacked to the Facebook Live that started this whole thing off, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. What I can't understand, Skip, where are the Steelers that's been so outspoken about Le'Veon and his money? Where are the Steelers that were so outspoken about James Harrison being released and signing with the Patriots? Not one said a word. Antonio Brown been cutting up the entire season.
No.
And not one has said a word.
I think they like him, and they respect him, and they know he's very valuable to their team, right?
And it serves them right.
What do they
He
call
shoulda
him?
quit
What's
on it.
his nickname in the locker room is Tony Toe Tap, because he can
Yeah.
tap those toes.
Yeah, and guess what he
Yeah.
did? He toe tapped in his street clothes on
did.
Sunday
He did.
and left you out there high and dry.
He did.
Is that what
they
you want?
know it now.
Yeah.
Hayward was quoted on his radio show. He said, we just can't. That can't happen again.
Oh, it can't?
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It can't?
Yeah.
He left at halftime.
Oh,
He
Okay.
didn't even stay.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is not the first, and that's been reported, this is not the first time they just missed practice.
Nope. That's why I said it's been going on all year.
So I can assure
and
you.
where was Mike Tomlin all those other times?
Yeah. I can assure you, if you've missed practice, you've missed meetings. Skip, I've had guys be late to meetings.
Yep.
In 14 years, played 14 years. I've had guys be late to practice. I've never, and a teammate of mine has never, that I know of. Now, maybe they came so late, we had already broke, and I didn't know.
Yep.
But I know any guy ever missed practice.
Yep.
Never, ever, ever.
Ever.
Wow.
No, I got you.
So you got to have some chutzpah.
You do.
You got to feel real comfortable. But what you got to really have is 72. You got to have about $60 million in guaranteed money.
You do.
Knowing that ain't nothing they can do.
So speaking of that, by the letter of the collective bargaining law, the Steelers could try to go after the signing bonus
Yes.
that they already paid him
Yes.
for his conduct unbecoming.
Yes.
But it would be hard to prove because even this past Sunday, Antonio did at least go to the stadium, so he could argue, well, I went to the stadium and you told me I couldn't play, basically, right?
Yeah.
So, because obviously the NFLPA would immediately file a grievance if they went after his signing bonus.
Yes.
So I don't think the Steelers could win that one. Maybe collectively, if they had all the incidents documented for the whole year.
Well, I'm sure they do.
They probably do. I just don't know. It'd be an ugly battle. And then we get down to, can you trade him? Well, again, I mentioned to you yesterday, you have to fight with $21.1 million in dead money. That's if you trade him. You're still stuck with that from the guaranteed money.
Or you can keep him and continue to pay him and have him continue to exhibit this kind of behavior.
Well, there you go. You know, I'm with you now. I wouldn't have signed him in the first place, but I think it's time to just bite that dead money bullet, right?
Bringing AB back under this current situation is akin to a man drinking poison and thinking someone else is going to die. You bring AB back and you think you're going to get a different result. That's what it's like, Skip Bayless, because he's already told you what he thought of you. Now, Ben, they can sugarcoat it. I ain't got no Ben. I ain't got no problem. I don't know what anybody talk about. It's all of a sudden Ben get amnesia. Ben, I'm like, how does Ben at the same practice as everybody else, and people see him not there, but Ben didn't notice it? Everybody else see him throw a football, but Ben doesn't notice it.
Yeah, he didn't say, I don't know what happened there. Why not say something happened? I don't know.
But that's what I can't understand. But it started this summer. Everybody had something to talk about Le'Veon. Le'Veon trying to get his money. And they criticizing Le'Veon. AB got his money. And they're like, oh, yo, you good, AB. Keep doing you.
It has been a toxic culture since I started this show with you guys all summer. We've been talking about him. All right, let's talk about the rookie and the vet, Lamar Jackson. Is he going to have the ability to take down Phillip Rivers on Sunday? We'll discuss that matchup next.
No mercy.
The Ravens are a small favorite in their home playoff game on Sunday against the Chargers. Lamar Jackson has burst on the scene and led the Ravens to 6 wins in their last 7 games. Baltimore beat the Chargers a few weeks ago here in L.A., and in that game, Phillip Rivers had one of his worst games of the season. No touchdown passes, and he was sacked 4 times. Shannon, who do you trust more in the playoffs, Lamar or Phillip Rivers?
I'm going to go Rivers slightly.
Okay.
I just believe in the playoffs, after having played in the playoffs, that it comes down to that there'll be a couple of plays in a game that needs to be made via the quarterback's arm.
Okay.
And you're not going to be able to run for the first. You're not going to be able to hand it off for the first. You're going to have to throw for the first. And I just believe that Phillip is more, at this point of his career, I just believe that he's more qualified to do that than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, his most passing yards in the season is 204. Had he had enough completion attempts, 58% completion would have ranked him 31st in the league. Rivers, for the most part, has been an MVP candidate. Now, I still believe that he'll finish somewhere top 5 in the MVP. I believe Mahomes, Breeze, Luck, either Donald or Rivers will be 4th and 5th, and I believe that's the way it's going to play out, Skip. But if you look at it like this, since he's been named a starter, Lamar Jackson's had 13 pass attempts where it's been 3rd and 10 or longer. He's completed 1. I feel comfortable in saying that come playoff time, there's going to be a time or two in this game. It's going to be 3rd and 10, and Lamar Jackson will need to make a throw. And I believe there'll be 3rd and 10 for the Chargers. And I just believe Phillip Rivers, at this point of his career, is better suited to make those throws than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is really, really heavily dependent on the running game. You look, and they can run it as well as anybody has. 7 games, over 1,500 yards rushing. That's unbelievable. Only the 77 Bears had that many rush yards over a 7-game span. So for me, I'm going to trust Rivers because I believe that in the playoffs, you're going to have to make a throw. And I just believe right now where Rivers is in his career, he's better suited to make that throw than Lamar Jackson.
Okay. So I hear everything you just said. I also am here to say this is a crazy question in the biggest picture because Lamar Jackson at this stage of his young career does not even belong in the same sentence with Phillip Rivers.
He doesn't.
But I'm also here to tell you that I trust Lamar a little bit more on Sunday at Baltimore than I trust Phillip Rivers because of the circumstances involved here. I believe Lamar will not try to do too much because they don't ask him to do too much.
They don't let him.
They don't let him. He does exactly what he's capable of doing at this stage of his NFL growth.
Yep.
I believe Phillip Rivers at some point on Sunday, on some 3rd and 10, will try to do a little too much because that's who he is and what he has always been to this franchise. And too often when he tries to do too much, you know what happens,
Yes.
right? So let's look at Phillip Rivers. He is 4-5 in the postseason, which it's okay, but it's not great.
No.
It's not living up to his regular season stats and
Correct.
stature,
That is
right?
correct.
So in the postseason, he's 11 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. He has not won a playoff game in 5 years.
Crazy.
And he got to the one AFC championship game. That was against those 07 Patriots who were loaded, but it was that cold day up in Foxborough, and he had a bad game. He was 19-37 for 211 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Sounds like the numbers against Baltimore.
Yep.
And they weren't very good, and Brady and company went on to the Super Bowl and obviously lost to Eli and company. So the point is, Phillip Rivers has to feel more pressure on Sunday at Baltimore because he's turned now 37 years of age. He's in his 15th year, and he was quoted a year ago as saying, there's no way I'm going to play until I'm 45 years of age. He has no ambition to do a Brady, right?
Yeah, you're going to have to, Skip.
Do you think because of the kids?
Yeah.
So he's got a 9th kid on the way.
On the way.
Okay. That's a lot of kids.
Something tells me in 2 years he's going to have a 10th one on the way.
Well, that's been his history, right? Okay, but he also said that at some point he wants to help coach his son's high school team, and his son has now just turned 16 years of age. I'm not sure exactly which year in high school he is, sophomore maybe. But
Which son?
Okay, which son?
He got
is
a bunch
good
of
question.
them.
I know he's got but that's the oldest kid.
Yeah.
So he probably would like to help coach a bunch of his boys as our girls,
Correct.
or whatever
Yeah.
as they come up.
Yes.
And the point is, I just don't know how much longer he wants to do that with that much responsibility at home. That's a lot of
And
responsibility.
plus the thing, Skip, the commute. Because he
Okay.
still lives in San Diego,
Okay.
and he has that
Yep.
car that's tricked out that he drives to and from.
He does.
Every single day. You think about that, Skip. Okay, 1 year, that's fine. But you start doing that 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, San Diego to where they, that's not a short commute.
It is not a short commute, especially with what can happen on the 405.
Yes.
I'm sure he's got a drive.
He does have a driver, but you still
Studying film.
Jenny made that commute.
Hey,
Yeah.
It was longer than I felt, actually.
Skip, think about it. You're not flying the plane, but going back and forth for extended periods of time, you're like, man, this is for the birds.
Hey, I had a once a week commute from Bristol, Connecticut to New York City, and it was no cakewalk.
Exactly.
Feel it.
No.
Yeah,
You feel
no
it.
fun. So back to this. Phillip Rivers and company, they threw the ball, the Chargers did, 512 times this year, and they ran it 399. So they're going to put it up, right?
Yes.
And we know that Lamar and company, they're just going to run it as long as they can run it, they will run it.
But they're going to get 40 attempts.
Okay? And a number of those attempts will feature Lamar.
Correct.
Because he's really good at that.
Yes.
And I think he's been shockingly good under pressure at those little key passes. And they're not big deals, they're just little big deals.
But you remember last week, Skip?
Yeah.
They didn't let him throw it.
No.
The last drive,
Okay.
it was three runs, and Greg Williams is coming. Greg Williams is coming with run blitzes, and they would not let him throw the football. So it told you at that moment what
Okay.
they were thinking.
But at Kansas City, I saw him throw it enough to put them ahead 24-17
Yes.
with 2 minutes left, right? Okay, that was pretty great. What I love about this kid is, I've told you from the start, I like his poise under fire. He doesn't change. I don't see him flinch. I don't see fidgety. I don't see nervous body language.
Right.
He looks just the way he looked at Louisville, like playing a college football game. The stage isn't too big for him. He believes in himself and what he can and can't do. He gets that
Yes.
so far. They get it. Marty Morningweg gets it.
Yes.
John Harbaugh they're putting him in very advantageous positions to
Correct.
do exactly. He throws it well enough to win this game on Sunday.
And what they do, Skip, is that they catch you off because they let him throw a lot of his throws come on first and second down.
They do.
When you're not expecting it.
Okay.
Because they don't want him to get in third and long. They don't want him to throw in a situation
And
where
obviously,
you know he's going to throw it.
almost all of them come off some kind of play action.
Of course.
Any kind of read option
Yes,
action.
yes.
It makes
Yes.
it easier.
Yes.
It is, you hate this description, but it is Tebow-esque. He doesn't
Yeah,
have
it is.
anything in
Yeah, it
common
is.
with Tebow
Yes.
as far as their styles go, but they're similar approaches that 2011 Broncos run to this run,
Well,
right?
Skip, you run the zone read key because now we got to find out what you're going to do. So
Yeah.
it's going to crystallize itself.
Okay.
And so we want to make sure that he's not throwing in some exotic coverage. We know because they run the ball so well, it's going to be one-on-one. The question is, can he be accurate enough to hit the open guy one-on-one?
That is the question. And so far, I think he's been mostly accurate enough to hit the open receiver. So let's look at the Ravens defense. They're second in points allowed, first in yards allowed. What do they feature in their back end? A guy named Eric Weddle, who's
Tony
in
Jefferson.
his, this is his 12th year, Eric Weddle. He made the Pro Bowl this year, and 9 of those seasons were spent practicing against Phillip Rivers. So does he not know Phillip Rivers pretty well? Does he not anticipate him pretty well? He probably does. So Chargers were 8th in points allowed. Pretty good. Just your Super Bowl pick. Is a good pick. That kid, Derwin James, is a flat-out stud. Way more talented, I think, than Eric Weddle is. And he made the Pro Bowl, but he's in his first year in the National Football League. So will this stage be a little bigger than he's used to being? Sure it will.
Well, and the thing is, Skip, it's been reported that they're going to activate Hunter Henry, who tore his ACLs. So that's another weapon. So we don't know how effective he's going to be. But Eric Weddle also got $1 million for making the Pro Bowl and making the playoff.
Pretty good.
Nice little consolation prize. But it's going to be interesting. Can the Chargers put the Ravens and Lamar Jackson in a situation where we know you're going to throw the ball when we want you to throw it? Would I be surprised if they ran the ball 50 times? Absolutely not.
I would not either.
Because if history is any indication over the last 7 weeks, they've been 35 to almost 50 rush attempts per game.
Okay. So on expectations of each quarterback, I'm going to trust Lamar a little more because he's expected to do way less than Phillip with pressure mounting in his, what are we up to, 15th year. Surely Phillip's thinking, gee, I don't know how many times I'm going to come this way again. I got a good team. I don't know how many more times I want to do this. Okay, so you don't think he's going to feel a lot of pressure to do something? Make a big throw?
Because last year they didn't even make the playoffs.
No.
So as you get older and you miss the playoffs, you're like, well, how many more opportunities am I going to have? It's not like Patrick Mahomes is in his 17th year. He's not going anywhere.
That's a good point.
It's only 4 and 5 in the playoffs, too. Like, at some point, he's going to want to be better than that.
Well, he better start. Well, if he doesn't win this game, he's going to be 4 and 6.
But then you got Harbaugh said this is the best team he's ever been associated with, ever. The way they've handled adversity, support, that means something, right?
But Skip, I do not believe, had Joe Flacco not gotten injured, I don't believe they make the playoffs with Joe Flacco.
That's what's
totally
crazy
agree
about this.
Okay,
we're switching gears because, Skip, there's this one guy, Kawhi, number 2, making a return to San Antonio tonight. How does he feel about it? I think his face says it all.
Dropped 45.
How the fans react, we'll discuss next.
Get him, Kawhi.
No mercy.
Kawhi Leonard returns to San Antonio tonight for the first time as a Raptor. Kawhi and the Spurs had a messy divorce that led to a trade in July, and yesterday, Greg Popovich was asked if he regretted it. Take a listen.
You move on in life. We're not going to redo what's happened in the past in any way, shape, or form. That's of no consequence at this point, and it does no good to go backwards and talk about this, that, or the other. And one of the reasons is you guys will interpret it whatever way you want anyway. So it doesn't matter what we say. You're gonna say whatever you want. So that's a waste of our time.
Okay, Skip, how should number 2 be received in San Antonio tonight?
Yes, Skip, how should he?
So, I am a longtime San Antonio Spurs fan, dating back to the 1980s when the Iceman, George Gervin, just captivated me, and I said, I want to be a fan of that team.
Okay.
And I know what I would do tonight if I were in those stands.
What would you do?
I would boo my lungs
Come on,
out.
Skip.
I would boo my heart out. I'd boo my guts out. I'd boo my soul out. Because Kawhi Leonard quit on the San Antonio Spurs on a team last year that I thought really had a chance to win it all. And this is a tough one for Spurs fans because they have never had any reason to boo one of their own once he returned from playing for another team. Because under the Popovich era, as you well know, they've had a long history of nothing but pretty classy, upstanding, play the right way basketball players. So when they go to another team to end their career, whatever happens, there's no reason to boo anybody. And all of a sudden, this is a shocker, I'm sure, to everybody today in San Antonio who's a Spurs fan. How do we deal with this? So let's reiterate. Inexplicably, Kawhi Leonard quit on a medical staff, the most conservative medical staff, the most player-friendly medical staff in all of sports, that cleared him at midseason of his thigh bruise. I still don't know what it was because nobody in San Antonio, trust me, I got good sources there, they still have no idea what was wrong with his thigh. It was a thigh bruise. He got kicked in the knee in the thigh, and it lingered the whole year, inexplicably, to the point that he played 9 out of 82 games. And obviously, the final flashpoint came in a players-only meeting, which happened late in the season, about a month ago in the season, in which Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, said, hey, we just need to know what's up. And he felt put on a hot seat, which he was. He was put on a hot seat because they said, are you with us or not? And he was obviously non-committal, because he's non-committal. He never says anything about anything. Yeah. So I was told yesterday by a Spurs source that when all the smoke cleared, once he had forced his way out of town with the trade to Toronto, that R.C. Buford, the best GM in sports, to me, or in pro basketball, he held a big session in which he interviewed one by one everybody in the organization who had anything to do with this collapse of number 2. And tried to figure out, where did we go wrong? And his conclusion, I was told, was, we don't know. We continue to be baffled by why all this fell apart. The Uncle Dennis had something to do with it. For some reason, number 2 just wanted out of San Antonio. Maybe small market, maybe what, I don't know what else. And trust me, the best thing that happened to Toronto in that trade was they got Danny Green along with number 2. Danny Green is, I know him very well. He's the truth. He's the right kind of guy. And he is the guy now who is keeping number 2 in line in Toronto. So for Spurs fans, there are going to be mixed emotions because Danny Green hit a whole bunch of big shots and made a bunch of defensive plays for this franchise and won championships for this franchise. And so it's going to be hard to figure out how to cheer for Danny Green and boo number 2. But number 2 deserves to be booed right out of the building tonight, and that's how I would handle it. And I've never thought that from any other Spur, so this is a highly uncharacteristic situation.
Well, this is what I believe should happen, Jenny, if it's just me. Kawhi Leonard did help the Spurs win an NBA championship. He was the Finals MVP in the year in which they won the championship. He's a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's a 2-time All-NBA player. I believe at the introduction, you cheer for what he was able to accomplish and help you accomplish while he was there. The moment they throw that ball up in the air, every time Kawhi touches the ball, you boo the brakes off him. But you have to acknowledge him, Skip, because he did help you accomplish one of your ultimate goals, which is winning an NBA title. He was the Finals MVP. He was a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Granted, it did not end the way you wanted it to, but it's okay. I'm sure George Hill would have loved to have finished his career in San Antonio, Skip.
Probably. I would agree with that.
And what happened? They traded him because they felt that getting Kawhi.
And what happens when he returns? He gets cheered. He gets cheered when he touches the ball. They like him. They love him.
But the end result is what I'm talking about. They moved on because they felt they were making the team better. Kawhi says, I'm a team. Team Leonard feel I can be better outside of San Antonio. It's okay. Everybody thanks old LeBron for that because LeBron made it okay to pack up shop.
Did LeBron force his way out of town? No, he didn't do that.
LeBron was a free
Did he do it the right way? Yeah, he did it the right way.
But then they criticize and say, well, you had a press conference and you had it on national television. And then they talk about, well, you did the expose at Sports Illustrated and you didn't let everybody know. So they're going to find a way to criticize you because at the end of the day, Jenny, you're not doing what other people want you to do.
I did not criticize LeBron for either of those 2 moves.
I didn't either.
Fine with
And I don't criticize on Kawhi because I know
did
Kawhi was hurt.
Did LeBron ever play 9 out of 82 games?
Kawhi was hurt.
Yeah. He was not.
I have an MD from Harvard, Skip.
Yeah, you do. You play a doctor on TV.
Yep.
I know that. Yep.
I'm board certified.
Yeah.
So it hurts me to hear you sort of put number 2 in the same breath and elevation with Tim Duncan.
No, I didn't do that,
Ginobili.
Skip. I didn't do
well,
that.
you list all of his achievements.
Some of them.
And they're sort of Duncan-esque, Ginobili-esque, Parker-esque.
Well, no.
Yeah.
None of those guys, well, Tony Parker did win a Finals MVP. But I do not believe, by any metric, Kawhi Leonard is probably the second or third best player in San Antonio history.
He's the 4th best player.
Okay. If you want to say
Just
Duncan clearly is number 1, if you want to say David
Ginobili.
Robinson is number 2,
I'll do
if you want to say
Ginobili's
Iceman,
number 2. Ginobili's number 2.
it's better than David Robinson.
Yep. It just was. More big shots, more big plays, more driving force. You don't get Ginobili. He was the guts of the whole operation.
I'm not
for a
so
long
sure.
time.
I'm not so sure San Antonio would have stayed in San Antonio had David Robinson not gone there, Skip.
Okay, well that's fine, but I'll put Ginobili second.
No. Like I said, he's the second or third best player.
Okay.
Whether you rank him behind the Admiral or you put him in front. Now, a lot of people, the old guard, are going to say, hey, Iceman was special. But okay, I give you that. But, Skip, he was unhappy. He wanted to be elsewhere. Skip, breaking up is never easy because one party doesn't want the other to go. So there's nothing that you could say. If he had came back and played, and says, after the season, I want out, that still wasn't going to be good enough because you don't want to let him go.
At least that's fair. At least you gave it your best shot.
Didn't I tell you what about the fair?
Yeah. Huh?
You know what the fair is, Jenny? You go get candy apples, cotton candy. You can judge livestock at the fair.
I love the fair.
You know where I put number 2 and what sentence I put number 2? I put him in the Dennis Rodman sentence because if you remember when Popovich was still the GM, what happened?
Took his shoes off on the sideline?
He did, and he forced his way out of town. And what did Popovich do? He traded him to Chicago.
Yep.
And what did Dennis Rodman do? He became the icing on that cake because they needed a rebounder, and so he helped Jordan win at the end, right?
The greatest undersized rebounder in NBA history.
Below the rim.
Hold on. I know he did not play with Michael Jordan. Ain't no way the greatest below the rim rebounder played with Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he's like 38 years old. Yep.
And led the league in rebounding twice and was all NBA. What?
Interesting.
How many first-team All-NBA players has LeBron James had the year he made All-NBA?
You know what? I don't even want to drag LeBron James down into this conversation because this is about number 2, who will always be number 2 to me.
45. You see him drop
He's
45 with
number
Utah?
2. Yeah,
You see him
good-
drop
good for
45?
you.
Career
Yeah.
best.
Oh, he got something for you.
Yeah.
Career
Is
best.
wait, I got a big question. Are we sure he's going to play tonight?
Yeah, he's gonna
Because
play.
You
I talked
realize
to him.
he's not playing back-to-backs for Toronto? He's still hurt. He's still got a bruised thigh.
Can you
How
imagine?
did
all
that
if he
happen?
didn't play?
Posted career high, 27-8.
Yeah.
I know.
That's what he doing, Skip.
Yeah.
Career
Can
best.
you imagine?
You realize there's no Kyle Lowry, so all the pressure tonight, he the North, right?
Woo.
He the North.
Yeah, now I
Yeah.
don't even call them baby dinosaurs anymore. I call them T-Rexes.
Okay.
Yep.
Here
Oh,
we go.
Kawhi.
We'll see.
Rexes.
Oh, Kawhi.
By the way, San Antonio has caught fire.
Oh, Kawhi.
Are you going to be booing from your
Oh,
living room too?
hey,
probably
you
won't.
know this, Skip?
Won't even
Ever since he got them old orthopedics, them New Balance, he been dusting folks.
Stop.
Yeah.
He ain't got no, he
what
don't
it
need
is?
he don't need no stripes. He ain't got the swoosh. He got them orthopedic and been cooking folk.
I'll take the Spurs for a case right now, tonight.
I don't
Got
know if he, no. He might not even play. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
You built him up, and now even
Very
you.
conservative in this new year.
Yeah, I just threw it on the table. I said I'll take it.
Okay, then give me some points.
I don't know.
Give me 4
I'll
points.
just straight up.
No.
Straight up.
Oh, but
I got-
you want me to give you points with Dallas.
I'm taking broccoli against one of the all-time great players.
Oh, that is baby dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Maybe you can give me some
T-Rexes. Yeah.
Okay, next up.
Siakam.
Has Antonio Brown played his last game in Pittsburgh? We'll discuss everything that is going on with Greg Jennings next.
No mercy.
Well, the Steelers are in the news right now for all the wrong reasons. Mike Tomlin shed some light on the drama surrounding Antonio Brown, saying he told Brown to go home and rest his leg on Friday, but added that Antonio didn't communicate with the team after that, leading up to him being deactivated for Sunday's game. Tomlin went further on the situation yesterday. Take a listen.
Obviously, we take his lack of communication, his lack of presence, particularly on Saturday prior to the game, to be something that's very significant and will be handled appropriately so. I'm not going to speculate on trades and things of that nature. We haven't formally received a request in that regard, so I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to speculate in terms of where the discipline might go and things of that nature. Just know that it's going to be addressed, and it will be addressed and needs to be addressed for obvious reasons. And when we're talking about our darkest hour, okay, we're talking about playing to win a game and needing other dominoes to fall for us to be in the tournament, and the guy not communicating, that is a real element of discussion.
Does it reach a point where it becomes more problematic than it's useful?
Certainly.
All right, Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings joining us this morning. When you look at this situation, how do you think it will play out between Antonio and the Steelers?
I don't know how it turns out. I don't think any of us can say how it turns. Well, we can say how it turns out, but we have to see it play out. But how it should turn out, he has to go. Simply put, he has to go. When I'll start with even listening to Mike Tomlin in that press conference. What was Antonio Brown doing? Was he respectfully just listening, or was he trying to one-up him and mock him and make him almost look like, look, I don't want to hear that. I'm not listening to you. He's already shown a disrespect towards not only the organization and his teammates, but to Mike Tomlin. I don't even respect you right now. Whatever you have to say, I'm not even listening. And neither should anyone else who's following me on Instagram or Twitter or all these social platforms. Mm-hmm. No, listen to me. Don't even listen to Mike Tomlin. I got this under control. That is a slap in the face where you just don't come back from that. Antonio Brown is who he is right now. And as much production that he has produced for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger in that offense, we all know what it looks like and what it's been. It's been great. But is it worth the culture? Is it worth what we're trying to do? Is it worth the wins that we lack because of this? Mm-hmm. Because of this. Like, I don't care how productive you are. If your goal isn't in alignment with mine, we can't win. The reason why the New England Patriots win is because they lay all differences aside when they get on that football field. Once they're in that uniform and that helmet is put on, everything that we disagree on is out the window right now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you do happen to continue to disagree, you're out the window.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. And what Mike Tomlin said at the end of that, when the reporter asked him at some point, does this outweigh the production? Mm-hmm. Does it become too much with all the antics and whatever? And his answer is certainly. I hope he sticks to that certainly. Yes. And it's not just Mike Tomlin that has to do that. That's the Rooneys that have to make that decision. But you can't allow Antonio Brown to come back with this attitude because it's not going to change. I don't care how many times you sit down with Ben, Tomlin, bring us all in a room, let's have a come to Jesus moment, as everybody wants to allude to. He is who he is. It's not changing.
I'm a firm believer. In order for your team to enjoy success, your best players need to be the hardest workers and the best leaders.
True.
And the two best players for the Pittsburgh Steelers are their worst leaders, Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown. That's it. You see, the thing is that when he went Facebook Live and Mike Tomlin is laying out what they're going to do for the upcoming week and get ready for, this joker is in the background. So at that moment, this is not about you, team. This is about Facebook and my followers and them getting an insight. Bro, that's sacred.
And remember, he caught Tomlin live taking a shot at the Patriots. Those A's, right? You know,
get a head start.
They got a head start. And it went out live to everybody.
Live.
Wow.
And he didn't care because it's never been about the team. It's always been. When I speak to college guys and I speak to NFL guys that's just getting into the league, the one thing I tell them, I says, I want you to be selfish. I want you to win the Heisman. I want you to be all-pro. I want you to try to make the Pro Bowl and win MVP. But those goals can never supersede that of the team. Because if the team goal is first, I know you will work extremely hard to accomplish what you need to. And if you accomplish those goals, we're going to meet those team goals. Mm-hmm. Antonio team is Team Antonio. Antonio care about one thing, his numbers. Antonio will tell you he just wants to win. He does want to win, but I need 12 catches for $150 and 2 touchdowns in that win.
Yep.
Because if I get 6 for 50 and a touchdown, that ain't good enough. Because I saw Juju get 10 for 105 and a touchdown. I can't have that. They got to move on. Because right now, Skip, production intolerance. You're going to tolerate this because his production level is high. It was the same thing with T.O., Skip. And I love T.O. His production was high. He was getting 1,500 yards receiving. He was getting 13, 14 touchdowns. But the moment that production slips, he gone.
Yep.
But what he's doing is that he's poisoning the locker room because you got young receivers. Juju's only in his second year. James Washington's in his first year.
Yep.
Eli Rogers is young.
Yep.
That's the defining voice in their meeting room. That's who they're looking at. They're like, well, hold on. This dude bucking, and he got $72 million. So what's to stop me from bucking? Juju putting up numbers. Juju said, hold on. I beat Antonio. I had more yards, more catches than Antonio. He acted like this and got paid. What's to stop me from acting like that and getting paid? I'm producing.
Because they keep looking at the head coach. How's he going to react to this?
Yeah.
He doesn't react. He doesn't react. He doesn't react. He goes unpunished, unpunished, unpunished until now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You can't have, it's like, Skip, you and I both are dog lovers. And that when you get a puppy, you try to set the groundwork and the parameters of how it's going to act. You don't let it go in the house.
No.
You can't get a puppy and let it go in the house till he's 5 years old, and then all of a sudden say, you know what, I want you to go outside. He looking at you like, what? I've been going in the house for 5 years. No, I think I'll stay right here. You've been letting Antonio Brown do this. So you know what you do? You pass that problem on to somebody else. Hey, y'all take it. Because I don't want to deal with it anymore because it's preventing us from reaching our ultimate. This is why the Pittsburgh Steelers are at home, Skip. They're too talented. There's no reason. You're 4th in offense, you're 8th in defense, and you're out of the playoffs? Because of this, because of Antonio Brown, because of Ben, because of what Mike Tomlin and the Steelers organization has accepted.
Yes.
So this story is wearing me out. It's tiring me out because this man across from me said from day one, do not pay him. Bad idea.
Let him go.
Right?
Yep.
I echoed your sentiments. I said, do not pay him. I said, do not pay Odell Beckham Jr. or you will regret it. And the Giants, I believe, are already regretting it. They're both more trouble than they're worth because, as you continue to point out, they play, you know this position very well. You know it pretty well. It's a dependent position. You can do only so much because you don't get to dribble the ball up the floor and decide whether to shoot it or not. You have to wait until it gets thrown to you. And if the other team says, Greg Jennings cannot have the ball today, it's going to be hard to get Greg the ball today, right? That will benefit everybody else, but it doesn't benefit Greg Jennings.
Right.
So obviously, Antonio Brown has become way more trouble than he is worth. And all of his social media following does not contribute on Sunday. It doesn't help you win football games. In fact, it's really destructive to your trying to win a football game because you won championships on 2 different teams that were pretty united as far as I knew, right?
Absolutely.
And you won on a team. It started to fracture later, but that year, I think you were pretty together, right?
Of course.
You have to be. No one's ever won a championship. Those Cowboy teams in the early 90s, off the field, they were my last book was titled Hell Bent. They were hell bent off the field. Trust me, in the locker room, when it was time to work, time to practice, they were like this, man. They loved each other. They fought for each other, and they were super talented, and they performed up to that level. Well, this team is super talented, and it's consistently not performed up to the level when it's time. Again, these were indictment games. What they did to New England at Pittsburgh, they showed you, oh, you can do that, really? Oh, you're really good. They showed you at New Orleans. They can hang right in there, and they had a chance to win at New Orleans.
Right.
And they missed the playoffs. Why did they miss the playoffs? Well, it all starts. They all get blamed, but to your point, they're all finger pointers.
Oh, it's Le'Veon. The Le'Veon distraction was hanging over our head.
Okay, so you have to cut bait and cut your losses. And again, we were ahead of this, so we're not being 20/20 hypocrites or 20/20 hindsight.
No.
We're saying we said this from the start. We told you so, but now you've made your bed and you have to get out of your bed because it's not going to work next year. You have to give him away, and you're going to have to give him away.
Oh, yeah, you're not going to get equal value.
Because the money is so high that somebody's going to have to take on, and the baggage is so much trust me, you can try to auction him off, and you might get a third rounder.
Second, third. But let me ask you a question. If that second or third round pick gonna give you the production, no matter what the position is that you get with that second or third round pick, is it gonna give you the production that Antonio Brown? But Skip, here's the thing. Maybe I could see, you know what, if I'd won me 2 or 3 championships, but let me ask you this, Skip. Do you think Golden State would put up Draymond antics if they hadn't won 3 championships?
Not a chance. Not a chance.
All the kicking and the technical fouls? Just like Detroit put up with Rodman antics.
They did.
They're winning championship. But the moment they start
Hey, trust me, the Bulls put up with Rodman. They did.
And when Jordan left, they said, man, we ain't gonna be able to control this guy.
Nope.
You got to go.
Got to go.
And this is with Antonio. Hold on. You mean to tell me I'm paying you $16, $17 million a year to miss the playoffs? Well, I can get me somebody and not pay them that much and miss the playoffs. I miss the playoffs with you. I can miss the playoffs without you. This makes no sense to me because Antonio Brown is dug in on who he wants to be and how he wants to play. And that's not going to change.
Yeah, and to Greg's point, and I mentioned this earlier in the show, at the flashpoint moment yesterday when he had a chance to show a little contrition, a little penitence, just a little bit of let's live and let live, you know, like a little bit, he's mocking the head coach during his live news conference on TV.
And then, boy, I don't know if he posted on Twitter or Facebook talking about his free will.
Yes.
Dum-dum. Free will? Dude, they paying you $18 million, $16, $17 million a year, and you don't show up to work.
That quote sounded like a Drew Rosenhaus special to me.
For me, and you touched on this, Skip, when you really, you know this, Shannon, when you really have a respect in a relationship outside of just the game with your teammates, with your coworkers, you will go above and beyond. It doesn't matter to you who shines because if you do well, if you look good, I look good.
Sure.
If you draw attention, that means I have more opportunity. If I draw attention, that means you have more opportunity. But because this team doesn't have the camaraderie off the field, they're not as tight-knit. Winning is not the supreme goal when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They talk about it, but they're not about it. Why do I say that? Because they want their own numbers.
I need my numbers.
Look at their offensive line calling out Le'Veon Bell. It's really us. What do you mean?
Where you ever heard offensive line say that?
Who does that?
Never.
You can't win when you're divided.
Every line never said anything.
No.
If the dude got 18,000, not one to A, they raised their hand. Larry said, hey, that was me. Nate New said, no, that was me. Shep said, no, that was me. Big Easy said, no, I got that, cuz. Eric Dickerson lying. And you got lying talking about that's us.
The list goes on. And can you imagine Tomlin getting off that podium and going, how did that go? And then someone has to tell him what AB was doing. I mean, just that relationship, I don't see it can move forward. I mean, there's really no way back from that. All right, Greg, good to have you on that topic. Are the Lakers in big trouble without LeBron?
Now we get to the guts of the story.
We'll discuss with Chris Broussard.
MVP.
Oh, yeah.
No mercy.
All right, the Lakers were without LeBron for the 4th straight game last night, and his absence was definitely noticed late in the game. The Lakers had a 5-point lead in the 4th quarter, then the wheels kind of fell off. Paul George finished with 37 points despite being booed by the LA crowd all game. Russell Westbrook finished 3 for 20 from the field, but he still had a triple-double. The Lakers are now 1-3 without the King. Joined by FS1 NBA analyst Chris Broussard.
Here we go.
Chris, what was your takeaway from last night's game?
My first takeaway was, man, Paul George would have looked great next to LeBron James. And he's the perfect number 2. And last night, he showed me mental toughness that he hasn't had in the past, I don't think.
That's a good point, and I agree with
you.
you.
A year ago, when Indiana booed him when he went back, he scores 12 points, 3 for 14 shooting.
You're right.
Last night, he ate it up, got fueled by the booze.
Well, he's become the man in Oklahoma City. I think he's empowered by that.
He's having his best season before the injury. This is his best year without question. He may even move himself into the MVP conversation.
Maybe.
At some point. But I thought overall the Lakers played fairly well. I mean, they're not only without LeBron, they're without Rondo. And then they were without Kuzma for the second half. And here's what I saw from that team. For the first 3 quarters, I thought they played team basketball. They're moving the ball. The players are moving. It looked like they were relying on each other to get them buckets and shots versus somebody going create it themselves. I'm going to get my own stuff, right? I saw team basketball. In the fourth quarter, I thought there was more isolation, more one-on-one, more over-dribbling, and it was looking for one guy to lead us. Now, that's fine when it's LeBron. When LeBron's there, you can make that switch and go that route.
Yes.
All right, the Bulls used to do it with Jordan. You know, that's how and even Kuzma would be your second guy.
He would be.
He's not there.
I agree.
So Ingram, look, he did it against Sacramento. That was fine. But he can't do it every night. No. He's not the guy to do it every night. And Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had 21 points in the first 3 quarters because the ball was just finding the open man, whoever it is.
And Lonzo had a lot to do with that until the fourth quarter.
Right.
So go ahead.
In the fourth quarter, Caldwell-Pope gets 4 points, 3 shots. Ingram is 1 for 7 because they were looking for one guy to close rather than continuing to play as a team.
I don't know if they were looking for him to close, but I think they were looking for him to initiate the offense, but he was looking to close.
He was trying to be LeBron.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's nice. You want to emulate him, but you're not him. And that's what I saw from this team. But I said yesterday I didn't expect them to win. Kuzma, obviously, I think LeBron's going to miss several of these games.
Oh, LeBron's going to be out gone for a minute.
Kuzma, Rondo obviously is going to miss them all. And Kuzma, that's the key. How that MRI goes, how soon he can get back. Because if those 3 are gone, then they'd be lucky to go 500 in this stretch.
Yeah. They're in trouble without LeBron. And the 3 losses since LeBron has been out, they've been outscored by 40 points in the fourth quarter. And it's amazing when you have that calming effect. You know, I call him chamomile tea, like lavender. You know, he's a calming effect.
Well, but and I love LeBron, but look, they were having trouble closing games with him.
Thank you.
Right? And come on.
That's the point.
They
Don't
might
act
have,
like they was just closing all these
no,
games
no, no,
when
no,
LeBron was there.
No. I'm not saying that, but they were not getting outscored by an average of 13.
Yeah.
And that's the problem because they're right there in these games. I mean, like you said, for 3 quarters. And then they put the ball in B.I. hand, and not necessarily so he can go one-on-one, so he can initiate the offense. But that's not what he's good at. And 1 for 7. Skip, Lonzo.
In the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Lonzo became unplayable because his shot is so inconsistent. He doesn't feel comfortable driving the ball because if you drive the ball, what might happen, Skip? You might get fouled. And then you got to take this lonely walk to the free throw line. Skip these.
LeBron knows that walk in the fourth quarter.
LeBron ain't never shot under 50%.
It's a team-wide. They are terrible from the line.
And this is what I told you was going to be the Lakers' problem after watching them for 10 games. They turned the ball over, another 17. Poor free throw shooting. They missed another 13. I don't care if you got LeBron. You do that, you're losing. You're losing. But again, Lonzo, Skip, those free throws ain't even close to going in. Yeah. That joker shooting the ball hoping, man, I just hope I don't airball. See, his thing not even close. Look how he's shooting the ball. So, hold on. But you want me to believe that he's going to be a great shooter from the outside, and I'm watching the way when he's dribbling the ball, taking his time. Can you imagine when somebody's running at you? They're in trouble, Skip, until LeBron get back. That's why he the MVP. And everybody know it.
So, silly me, I envisioned LeBron late last night up on his deck, Brentwood Estate.
No, he was on the game.
Big cigar. No, this is late. This is like 1 o'clock in the morning, puffing his cigar, thinking.
No, he don't do that during the season.
I got this. Because this is his MVP case, right? Being made right before your very eyes, right? So he has to enjoy some of these losses.
No, we don't enjoy that.
If they fall too far, now they've fallen all the way to the 8th spot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to be 10th or 11th. They're going to be 10th or 11th by the time we get back.
Okay, so let me get this over with. You are so right about Lonzo Ball. It was going to be my first point. I had to get my little LeBron point out of the way first. But Lonzo Ball, I'm going to go this far. You can't play in this league shooting 45% from the free throw line, especially if you're a point guard.
Yeah.
If you're 7'2" and you can do a bunch of stuff.
Or you Ben Wallace.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. if you can do that, that's fine. But as a point guard, you cannot shoot 45% from the free throw line. In key moments in the fourth quarter, to your point, because that was still a game when he stepped to the line the first time, and he bricked both of them.
Yes. Yes.
They weren't even close. And then he missed another one before he finally swished his fourth one in the fourth quarter, and Luke took him right out of the game, and I had no problem with that because he was becoming Hack Alonso liability.
Yes.
He was. And hey, they're not stupid.
How you hack a point guard?
Okay, well, I'm just saying, you can't do that. He is shooting the ball from three much better than he did a year ago. So you got to give him that.
Yes.
And he will step up and make some big threes in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
He has. He's not afraid to take that shot, but he's afraid to go to that free throw line. You can't exist. I'm telling you, you can't last in this league until you fix that. And I thought maybe he would fix it in the offseason because what did he shoot last year? 49%?
Yeah.
You know, that's pathetic. That's can't play. That's do not invite him, right?
You certainly can't play in the fourth quarter.
That's what I'm saying.
Like
Come
that.
on.
I mean,
come on.
he like you said, he shot the ball well from three at times, especially playing off LeBron, but he's inconsistent.
Yeah.
Right.
He's just, you don't know. You have no idea from day to day, game to game, what Lonzo's going to get.
Or from shot to shot.
Right.
Do I love his passing gift? Yes, I do. Do I love his rebounding ability at about 6 feet 7 inches tall? I do. And trust me, he's still their best on-ball defender. When he locks in on somebody, he is so long, he makes it really hard on the opposing team's guard. And he had Russ a lot last night. And I have never seen anything like the shooting slump he is in, given his stats over his career.
My goodness.
Oh, my goodness. He shot 3 for 20, and they still won the game last night because he's still going to stuff the stat sheet.
That's it.
Right?
He's
still averaging.
shoot more shots you have points.
He needs to cut down the threes. He's taking 5 threes a game. He's shooting 24% from three.
24?
1 for 7 last night.
Wow.
I mean, look, I get that you have to take a few to keep the defense honest.
Okay.
But he should be taking maybe 2 a game at the most.
Yeah.
So now, because he can do so many other
to Brandon Ingram. You brought it up. So this was a big stage for him. This is like a big moment. This is a winnable game without Kuzma, without LeBron, without Rondo. And they said, B.I., you're up. This is your stage. And he plays the whole 12 minutes of the fourth quarter. And he goes, to your point, 1 for 7, and he played completely out of control the whole fourth quarter because it was hero ball times 10. Mm-hmm. He would just get it and turn whirling dervish, just whirling around the lane, dribble, fall away, some high degree of difficulty shot, and he just kept bricking them, and he had 2 turnovers on top of that, and he was a minus 11 in the fourth quarter. That was not a good audition for you being the second best player on the team, right?
Nor a good audition for you being the showpiece of a trade.
He might be better outside L.A.
Well,
maybe a Staples Center.
Well, you should have been rooting for him last night.
I was.
Okay.
But after I saw what was going on, I had to go to bed, Skip.
Yeah.
It was already at 9:30. I was like, nah, they're not going to win this one. Let me go on. Give me a good old night's sleep.
But these next 7 will tell the tale. They were supposed to lose last night.
Skip, Chris, you keep talking about when you look at guess what the other teams are saying? Look who on our schedule.
I get it.
The Lakers.
I know.
They're looking at the Lakers like the Lakers looking at the Knicks and the other team.
I know.
That's how they're looking at the Lakers without LeBron.
This is one we can get.
So think about this. Paul George shot 2 for 11 from 3 last night. Now, he had 37 points. But to your point, Westbrook shoots 1 for 7 from 3. As a team, they shoot 22.6% from 3, and they still won the game?
And they didn't shoot well from the line either. 64%.
But they got up 16 more shots.
Okay.
They're not a good shooting team either.
No.
Let's see how they do tomorrow night, back in action against the Knicks. So maybe they can figure it out.
They better win that one. I don't care who's
It's
out
ugly
there.
if they
You
don't.
better beat the Knicks.
Watch Moutier cook somebody.
Look
He
good.
might.
If
And
not.
Kevin Knox.
We're gonna stick with LeBron because you know what? He keeps taking us down these trips down memory lane.
We got to go out memory
Just
lane.
we gotta
wants
get
to
out
look
memory
back.
Down memory lane.
Talking about 2016 finals again. We'll discuss. We'll tell you next.
No mercy.
Well, LeBron recently said that he felt like he was the GOAT after his Cavs came back from a 3-1 deficit to beat the Warriors back in 2016. Yesterday, LeBron Show More Than an Athlete released a clip of what he told his teammates in the locker room after Game 6, which tied up the series. LeBron said about Golden State, quote, "They effed up mentally and physically. I'm telling you, they effed up." We're joined once again by Chris Broussard. Chris, what do you make of this?
We couldn't show the footage, huh?
Because
of language.
they effed up. So.
LeBron was absolutely right. He was
Absolutely.
absolutely right.
I agree. He was.
When a team is up 3-1 and then the other team wins the next 2 to force a game 7, and one of those games was on your home floor where you had been all but invincible all year, you are going to be messed up mentally. When you're up 3-1 in almost every case, you're the better team. You should win the series. You won 3 of the first 4 games, and then you lose 2 straight. So mentally, that's going to mess with you. And when you look at that game 7, Steph Curry, 6 for 19, 4 for 14 from 3. Klay Thompson, 6 for 17, 2 for 10 from 3. These are 2 of the greatest shooters ever. Best shooting backcourt, I think best backcourt period of all time. And they didn't play well. Now, I'll give some of that credit to the Cavs defense. They played really good defense. But that same defense gave Draymond Green 32 points. He scored 32.
32, 15, and 9 to be exact.
There you go. So that shows mentally, Steph, Klay, they were shook. They were a little messed up. So I think LeBron was right on the money with that quote. Here's the thing. When you watch that whole episode of More Than an Athlete, sometimes LeBron with the tweets, the Instagrams, and, you know, he always seems like he wants better teammates. I need more help. I need more help. It can come off like he doesn't have enough confidence in himself as the best player in the world, like he should. But what I saw from that video, not just that quote, but watching that video, and you hear a lot of things around the league about LeBron's leadership, positive and negative. I saw a great leader. I saw the ultra confidence when they were down 3-1 after they were down 3-1 after game 4, and LeBron was in the locker room. And they showed it in that video. And I get it. This is his company editing it and showing what they want, but the footage is still real. He was in the locker room saying, let's just get 1. All we need is 1. Don't worry about 3. Just get 1. Don't worry about 3. Like, that was I thought at that time, covering that series, that the Cavs and LeBron were done at that point. I thought they were shook. I thought he was shook. I thought there's no way they're coming back, and they know it. But he was in that locker room saying, just 1. Don't worry about 3, just 1, to himself and his teammates. That showed me a great leader. I thought the way he handled the post-game interviews, it showed leadership. And that quote, I think it was right on the money. He said just what they needed to hear and just what was on point.
Go ahead, Skip. I don't even want to go. I don't want to go right now. I don't want to go.
Smiling.
Don't want to go.
So exactly which side of LeBron's mouth is he speaking out of now? Because a couple of days ago, we heard that he was taking credit for pulling off this upset, which made him the GOAT, as I call him, the faux GOAT. But that's his case that he was making. That made him the greatest ever because he pulled off this upset. But now we see that he knew he had them on the ropes after 6 games because they were cooked mentally and physically. And need I detail again what that team had been through? It gutted it out all the way home to win 73 games. And they all admitted later, Steve Kerr admitted, it was a mistake. You took way too much mental and physical energy to do that. Then you fell behind 3-1 to Oklahoma City. And Oklahoma City was still a troubled basketball team between, obviously, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. And they finally came apart in the crucial game, which was Game 6 in their place. And they shot poorly. They combined to shoot 1 for 13 from 3. And Klay Thompson went off in that game and made 11 threes and scored 41 points and saved their bacon. And they got back home, and then they had to grind out a defensively oriented sort of a football game against Oklahoma City. They won 96-88 in Game 7. So they're on the ropes when they get to the NBA Finals. And to your point, LeBron looked lifeless to me in Game 4 because they got outscored in the fourth quarter in his house 29-20. Yeah. But a pivotal episode took place with 2 minutes and a half to go in that basketball game. And that was Draymond got into it with LeBron. He vocally, loudly calls him the B word. They go up the court, they get tangled up. And then boss? Yeah, I don't think it was a boss. The next letter was I. It wasn't O. You know. So, and then they get tangled up, and Draymond kicks him in the midsection. This is just craziness because this is your guts and glue guy. And then Kiki Vandeweghe, and obviously the commissioner, stepped in and did something that I did not believe they would do. They suspended a key player for the 5th game of the series back in Oakland, obviously.
You think it was warranted?
But I've never seen a commissioner in any sport do that.
They did. Remember San Antonio? They suspended Robert. They suspended Amari Stoudemire for coming off the bench with Robert Ory.
I'm talking about the finals.
Oh.
That was the conference finals.
Yes.
Okay. But again, this is the NBA. This is going to decide the championship of the world. Yep. And you take away Draymond for Game 5. And to me, they were discombobulated. They were on fumes already. And then once Game 5 happened back in Oakland, and LeBron happened, and Kyrie happened, because Kyrie in 5, 6, and 7, he averaged 30 a game, and he made 9 of 17 threes. That's 53% he shot from the three-point line, and he made all 13 of his free throws over the last 3 games. So LeBron did have help. LeBron was great. No Kyrie was great.
Yes.
But they got help from Tristan in Game 6. He had 15 points and 16 rebounds, and Kevin Love had 14 rebounds in Game 7. So don't tell me. The point was the better team won. That's why I can't call that the greatest upset ever, because, hey, look at what Steph has done in the postseason. Did he not come up small once again down the stretch of that? The last 3 games, Steph Curry had, 7 assists and 12 turnovers. 7 to 12 in the last 3 games. He had 7 assists. And then you already pointed out his numbers in the last game. He disappeared. Draymond finally came up bigger in Game 7, but he wasn't good in Games 5 and 6.
Wasn't there for 5.
Yeah, and he wasn't there for 5. And then Clay was hit and miss, and he was mostly missed in Game 7. So to me, I'll take LeBron James, the best player on the planet, and Kyrie and Kevin Love and Tristan. That's a better team than those guys were at that point.
I will say this, and I've said it on here before. If we were at the park and you put Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green on one side, and LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love on the other, I'm taking the Cavs side. Like, that's more. Now, Golden State had a better offense. They had better chemistry. Better
bench, too.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely a better bench. But I'm with you. I mean, I think, look, it was obviously a tremendous achievement for LeBron to win that. But, yeah, they didn't have Kevin Durant.
Right.
Like, you do it now. We look at the Warriors differently now. Yeah.
Now you got it.
Okay, well, help me understand this. I just want to make sure I'm hearing this correctly. Now, when LeBron led the Cavs back from 3-1, the Warriors were fragile. Were they fragile when they came back from 3-1 against OKC?
I think they were.
OKC was fragile.
OKC was fragile.
Okay.
And
how
I'm not saying no. They were. They were.
He wanted out. What was about to happen?
So he was
about to go to Golden State.
Did he want out when he got the 3-1 lead or after he lost the 3-1 lead? When did he want out?
He wanted
because
out.
He was playing unbelievable.
He wanted out about 3 years before that.
To your point, though, what you're saying, look, as great as Kevin Durant is, we got to admit, he has not proven that he will lead a team to a championship. He was a Finals MVP, but that's a stacked team, and it's Steph's team. To your point, that was his team.
Yes.
That was I don't know. Russ was
so you say
great.
he needs to go somewhere and take the Knicks to the
I'm just saying I think what Shannon is saying is we compare LeBron and Durant. LeBron has proven, even though he's had help, obviously, that he can lead a team, his team, to championships. Durant has yet to prove that. And when he had his team, they faltered.
Yeah.
That's what I
think. Because Russ
that's
is an MVP. Russ is on pace to have another triple-double season. So 3 straight. That's what KD had.
Who was the primary decision maker on that team, those Thunder? Who was
Russ.
it?
Well, Russ, because he had the ball in
He
his
dribbled it up every time, and he got to decide, I'm going to go solo here, or I'll give you a chance.
But Durant wasn't good in those. Russ
6
wasn't either. But Game 6 and 7, they both struggled. They both faltered.
They did.
Do you think LeBron keeps talking about 2016?
No, we ain't
the
gonna
start
talk
of
about it.
something?
LeBron talking about everything. He's talking about whatever he wants.
He's got too much
He ain't
time
gonna
while
stop.
he's recovering.
Yeah.
Chris, thank you for being here. Okay, we've got the NFL playoffs around the corner this weekend. So would you rather have Andrew Luck or Deshaun Watson on Saturday?
That's easy.
We'll discuss.
It is.
No mercy.
It's going to be a busy weekend with the NFL playoffs underway Saturday afternoon when the Texans host the Colts. Both Andrew Luck and Deshaun Watson had great seasons. Luck was second in the league with 39 touchdown passes, and Watson had 26 TD passes and just 9 picks. Shannon, who is the better QB between these two?
Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck can throw it better. He commands the offense better. He's in better command of his football team. I think the thing is that what Deshaun Watson's going to have to learn what Andrew Luck learned the hard way, Skip. Get rid of the football. Deshaun Watson was sacked the most of any quarterback in the NFL. And Andrew Luck had to learn the hard way. It took him missing games and then missing entire season. And also give the Ryan Ballard, the new general manager, credit in Indy. First-round draft pick at left tackle, first-round draft pick at left guard, first-round draft pick at center, second-round draft pick at right tackle. So you shore that up, you take care of that. And Deshaun Watson is going to have to understand that, Skip. Andrew Luck, if you look at what he's done, orchestrated the second greatest comeback in playoff history, a 28-point. They were down 38-10 to Kansas City. He orchestrated that, and then he also beat Peyton Manning, Peyton's in Denver. So I just think right now, what Andrew Luck has gone through, what he's learned from his injury, knowing when the journey's over, I don't have to try to prove how tough I am, considering that I'm playing in the NFL. I'm plenty tough enough. I'm not going to try to run over linebackers and safety, Skip. I'm going to get out of bounds. I'm going to get down. I think where he is right now in the game of football, I just think right now he's a better quarterback. But Deshaun Watson is well on his way. But if you make me choose right now, I'm taking Andrew Luck.
Make me choose right now, and I'm taking Deshaun any Sunday or Thursday or Monday or Saturday, name it. Whenever it is, I'm taking Deshaun Watson. And all I needed to know was we're about to watch Alabama and Clemson play yet again this coming Monday night. And I watched twice Deshaun Watson go against St. Nick's defense, and I've never seen anything quite like that in all my time watching college football, because the first time in the loss, he threw for 405 and 4 touchdowns. And then in the win, he threw for 420 and 3 touchdowns. And the first time he ran for 73 yards and 43 and a touchdown the next time. It was just extraordinary, the intangibles I saw in this young man with both arm and legs, which obviously Andrew had to a fault for a while because he would try to run through brick walls. But all of a sudden, Andrew is protected. And the shock to me is that Andrew Luck has turned into the ultimate dinker and dunker, because his yards per attempt, 7.19, ranks 23rd in the NFL this year. Deshaun is still winging it down the field. He's doing it on the fly, on the run, running for his life. But his yards per attempt were 6th at 8.25. So Luck is a dinker and a dunker. And
a lot of that happened early, though, Skip. You know his arm was not where it needed to be early in the season. And a lot of those throws was 10 and under.
Well,
but as the season progressed, he's been opening it up.
Late in the season, he went to Jacksonville and got goose-egged. 6-0.
And I know somebody that went even later in the season and got goose-egged.
And guess what? Luck benefited that day against my Dallas Cowboys with 178 yards rushing. Marlon Mack ran wild on my Dallas Cowboys. And Andrew Luck threw for a grand total of 192 yards. Is that good, Shannon?
That's very
you always
good.
Say that's below 200.
How many touchdowns?
None and none. He was none, no touchdowns.
He didn't turn it over like somebody else I know.
So I don't
Somebody
know.
quarterback turned the ball over twice.
You want intangibles? Give me Deshaun. You got a better chance with Deshaun on the playoff stage.
Andrew Luck don't have intangibles?
Well, I haven't seen him. I remember he lost his last bowl game to Brandon Weeden in Oklahoma State. Remember that?
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah, a long time ago. But I don't know.
So what are we going to do about that 38-10 comeback that he orchestrated?
Well, who threw him into that hole with 3 big interceptions?
That
guy.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I know a guy that threw a team into a hole. He threw for 450.
Somebody's changing
I hear this.
He did it. Somebody threw for 455 yards.
Somebody
he threw
knows
for 240.
He's about to lose.
Somebody threw for 240 in the fourth quarter in overtime, and they won.
Don't you shortchange him 243.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott.
So which is more important? Impressive. A 28-point come from behind in the playoff, which is the second greatest. You know they've been playing football.
Who was the opponent that day in Indianapolis?
Kansas City.
Yeah, and who's the quarterback? Check down
You
Alex.
love him.
You hate him.
You love him.
Well, you hate him.
Yeah, exactly.
So the degree of difficulty was nil because it was check down. And I got to tell you, check down in the fourth quarter, he was not very good.
So now you don't like check down.
Yeah.
You don't
like check down, so you can't use them to make your case.
Okay, what about when he beat Peyton?
Yeah,
he
did. That was good, but he had his moment. Did he beat Brady in Deflategate game? No.
Well, when you
had
run
to
the ball
accuse
for
them of deflating the footballs, and then when they were properly inflated, what happened in the second half? A party got thrown on the Colts.
First of all,
by Tom Brady.
The Patriots were a better team. They could have been playing with a bowling ball.
Really?
And the Patriots would have won. But that does not change the fact that he got him there in his third year. And every year for his first 3 years, he went to the playoffs, and he went a step further each year. So, right now, what I'm supposed to do about these 39 and 15? What am I supposed to do about that?
What am I supposed to do about the 15? Because that's a lot of interceptions.
That's a lot of tubs.
Yeah.
I take 2 to 1 any day of the week.
Huh.
Everybody take 2 to 1. Because everybody can't be like Aaron Rodgers, 4-2-3
What am I supposed to do about those 5 rushing touchdowns for Deshaun Watson to 0 for Andrew Luck? What am I supposed to do?
Hold up, you told me the quarterback's supposed to throw the ball. That's what you told me all the time.
No, I did not.
Oh, but see, when I tell you
Dak
about
runs it. Dak scored 6 touchdowns.
We
Run
should
it.
expect a close one, guys.
It's within the rules. The quarterback can actually run it into the end zone.
And I'm going to tell you about Aaron Rodgers all the time. That's what gave him the advantage over Brady. I'm glad you brought that up, Skip. Let's think.
All right. We are moving to Anthony Davis.
Yep.
Is he on his way out of New Orleans? We'll discuss the latest next.
Yep.
No mercy.
Time for our final topic of the day. Anthony Davis and the Pelicans lost last night to the Nets, but the attention continues to be on his future in New Orleans. AD can be a free agent in 2020, and he was asked after the game if he would get tired of playing for a bad team. AD cut off the question and said, quote, "I don't. Next question." Shannon, what is going on here?
Because they want him to say, I want out. I've demanded a trade. I've requested a trade. He's already addressed it. He said he wants to be in New Orleans. Now, just take it as that. Now, we get some guys that talk about they don't want to talk about their impending free agency, and all they do is talk about it. Not like KD.
Yeah,
But anyway,
I know.
AD is a man of his word. He says he's not going to address it. Hey, I'm in New Orleans. I'm happy to be in New Orleans. Yes, he's frustrated winning. He's putting up monster numbers game in and game out. And they're losing. Yeah, that gets frustrating. But that doesn't mean he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be there.
What is his agent LeBron James telling him to say?
No, Rich Paul is his agent.
Oh, I thought it was LeBron.
Clutch Sports.
Oh, Unclutch Sports. Yep. So, to me, this is clearly a case of, do you realize this team has now fallen to 17 and 22 and second to last in the Western Conference?
Yep.
So help me out here.
Yep.
How can you be the best player in basketball in PER, right? He leads in
Yes.
PER.
Yes.
And you have that little impact on wins and losses? I've said this about Anthony Davis his whole career. He needs LeBron more than LeBron needs him. So he needs out of there because it's crumbling before your very eyes.
He doesn't. And Kevin Garnett has said he's talked to him, and he doesn't want him to make the same mistake that he made by staying too long in Minnesota.
Correct.
So
Hey.
AD,
He didn't stay too long.
Yeah,
That's it for us.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports. One of one.